Our idea was to share some of our destination marketing ideas with you guys, just to maybe inspire a little for the question session. So I'm not sure if our technicians can help us out.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Okay, so it was a great pleasure for me. I come all the way up from the cold north in Denmark, and one of the best ways to learn a destination, at least in my view, is actually to take a walk around the streets, meet people, interact, and see how that goes. And I have to say, Denmark is usually known as a very safe place, and I would say Accra, Ghana, you definitely match Denmark. So whoever is the head of police, congratulations. Extremely friendly people, curious, easy to get to know. Also, Craig and myself, we also embrace the theme of this congress. So, feel global, be local. So we couldn't help ourselves, so we came up with an idea, maybe an inspiration. So why don't we think that Africa is locally yours? When you look at destination marketing, I agree with Mr. Agassi. It's everything you do. It has to be in your DNA. And therefore, the first thing you do is to look at what's the potential. And I have good news with me. Africa's potential is tremendous. It's so big that I chose to call it a no-brainer. Basically, what you have to look at, if we ask the World Bank, in Africa, the continent of Africa alone, 4 million jobs can be created, 4 million. Globally, this is not a small industry. Globally, more than 300 million people are working within the tourism industry in one way or the other. Global hotel chains are ready to come, they're ready to invest. In the city of Accra already, we know that Marriott Groups, Residor and others are ready to come here. So you see that as a positive sign. These guys have huge marketing organizations behind themselves, so it's not just for the fun of it they're coming, they see business opportunity. Of course, His Excellence earlier today stated that he exactly is what we have here. So proactive government is essential to succeed. I think you're showing that here in Ghana, so congratulations. It's a very positive start. And even if you look away to other continents, what did they do? If we look at Thailand, for instance, back in the 60s, it's 50 years ago only, it barely existed. Today, 20% of the entire Thailand workforce is within the tourism industry, 20%. If we look at Bali, small Indonesian island, in the mid-70s, they had an average of 93,000 visitors. Last year, they turned 2 million guests who had a spender of 2.2 billion US dollars. And that's an island in Indonesia. Just imagine the potential. Mozambique actually showed a good example. They had an amazing growth of 285% just by easing up visa regulations, showing that they interacted with the industry. Greg will go in depth with that later on, but it's a very good example of how to do it. If you look at how to invest money to create jobs, it's a common discussion among economists, among politicians, and it's interesting and valid. I couldn't help myself, I took a look at Zambia as an example. So if you invest $250,000, that would create 182 full-time jobs within tourism. If you take the same amount of money invested in agriculture, surprisingly, it's actually 40% less jobs that it creates. Even worse, if you take it into the mining industry, it's half of that. So the business case for tourism is definitely there. If you look at who does Africa compete with, well, that's a big question. In my book, I think you should look yourself towards Asia and South America. And there's a lot to learn. You don't have to invent the whole industry yourself. Also look and learn and be inspired by others. So are there restraints for the growth and success? Yes, there are. Security and health is an issue. Let's be honest about it. Of course, luckily no longer here, but politically instability is also, when you look at the continent as such, at least historically, an issue that needs to be addressed. Infrastructure development, yes, that's needed. So you can see here and locally in Ghana, it's impressive when you come around, but as a continent, of course, there's work to do. Visas, I mentioned it briefly. Luckily, His Excellency spoke today about e-visas. It's a great way to do it. That helps also tour operators internationally to feed in guests to the continent. One thing I often meet on my road is when you talk about scaling up tourism, hard data is difficult to obtain. How do you exactly justify that the investments put in also are returned? It's very difficult, if you ask any hotel chain, to exactly categorize the guests. Is it somebody who is here on business, leisure, are they booked through an international tour operator, etc.? In order to do that, you need to have the whole community behind you. So it has to be a bottom-up process where you make sure that the whole political spectrum, the whole private sector is behind it in order to support the business case, to make sure that we also show investors that they have a return of investment. If you look at what it costs actually to develop a hotel, that's also interesting. When we talk about hotel development, we actually talk about the practical cost of building a hotel room, ground up. In Nigeria, as an example, price per built hotel room is $400,000. If you look at Ghana, here our local host, it's $250,000. If you compare it to Copenhagen, my hometown, or even New York, it's $200,000. Obviously, that has to change. That's also something with land ownership. There's a lot of factors behind that, but it's something you cannot ignore. If you really seriously want to attract international investors, they would look at this. One thing that you cannot neglect as well is the human development part of it. As I said, for me, it's a bottom-up process. If you build a wonderful hotel like the one we have the pleasure of being in today, you need to cater this hotel with capable, service-minded staff. They need to learn how to be hospitality in the hospitality industry. Hotel service schools, catering service schools is essential to carry the industry. Otherwise, what you will see, major hotel chains will give you wonderful properties, but you can't facilitate those properties. And then you have to think in the whole business into the value chain. I'll give you a good example of a country who's done amazingly well. If you look at Tanzania, over the past 10 years, they actually welcomed 1,600 new hotels. Amazing. Well done, Tanzania. But all the furnitures were imported directly from China. It's a shame. So think the whole value chain into the business case. Now I'll give you the pleasure of Craig Drysdale just to go through some of the pillars in destination marketing and what that exactly takes. Craig. Yeah.
Let's really get to this right. Matt, thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the World Tourism Forum for inviting me across to come share. So Matt has gone through really the statistical and the technical part of destination marketing and management. But what I want to do is just go through, and I've put the sort of the fundamental pillars of destination marketing in Africa, the practical approaches as destination management companies and tour operators, what we look at particularly in particular regions or be it countries, cities, and that going forward. And I'll chat a little bit about more later, and we'll put into the thing. And one of the things is the development of private and public partnerships. Very, very important. Have established well-funded destination management organization, tourism organization, or convention bureaus. Infrastructure development, obviously critical. And then very important is raise destination profile, brand vision, and then translate this into behaviors, and then the constant measuring and monitoring of stats and return on investment. And one of my colleague industries, Darren, later will talk about statistics, how important that is going forward. So just to touch on quickly, the if I go through this thing actually moves, the next slide. That hasn't moved across, we'll take from there. No, not working, so it's fine. So just to touch through the fundamental pillars, so develop private and public partnerships. And I put this as the first thing because what we found in looking at particularly, and as Kari has said, in a competitive world, particularly on markets, countries and cities, it is very, very competitive there. And what we have found that if we get this development of the private and public partnerships working together, and having one vision going forward, then obviously there's some great results. Sorry, is this thing that I'm moving now? It's decided to work. So really, like I wanted to touch. So if we're looking at the role, just going back. Sorry. So the development of that. Then moving on to the role and importance of a destination management organization. And this is the pivotal part of future economical growth and sustainability tourism destinations. What we're seeing more and more, and I say around the world, is that destination marketing organizations, entities in that is critical in delivering that strategic message, long-term economic growth, going forward and building particular nations. What's also very important is that DMOs are they are responsible for brand strategies. And so what countries got to ask themselves, like Ghana and Africa, what is your brand strategy? What is your message out there? And this is where I talk about, and I go back to the partnership, stakeholder partnership of public and private, is making sure that brand strategy through your DMOs or through entities is understood, is embraced, and is pushed forward. And also DMOs are an unbiased source. What happens is a lot of scouts or guys are looking at particularly congresses or conferences or looking at new markets to build products or investments like in hotels and that would come through to a DMO and get that particular resource, unbiased resource, information, which would then save everybody time and particularly money going forward. I put a question there, why public and private partnership? Why is it so imperative? As I said, if we look at public and private companies, there's always a constraints of resources, be it financial resources, understanding political will. The coming together of these two entities really going forward gives us what we really talk about, a right collective and a unified messaging. Going through again is this unified messaging going through. What is your unique selling point? What are we trying to achieve as a destination or a market going forward? And then also the fast and better cost-effective of project completions. So instead of private sector and public sector doing their projects on their own, completely on their own, is the bringing together of these collective minds that for us is imperative. I just want to go through that. So really from my side is the fundamentals I really wanted to touch really there, and we'll talk around it, is really the development of private and public partnerships, have a well-established destination management organization, infrastructure development, as we'll talk and chat about a little later. The givens are airlift strategy, ensuring that transportation within the region and the cities is done, hotels, tourism products and that. If people are arriving by train, car, bus, by planes, people want to come to a destination that they feel they can have an experience. Everything is about experiential tourism. They want to go there, not just for family, visiting family or friends, or just think they want to come away and have that wonderful experience from there. And then the key thing for me, with the fifth thing I spoke about, is the constant measuring and of your statistics and what return on investment do you go through there. But I'm going to end on this, and I'm going to repeat myself again. The key thing, and we've seen this particular country I come from, South Africa, is that public and private partnership is absolutely imperative. We started this initiative almost 20 years ago, and we are very fortunate that, if we look at our tourism growth in South Africa, it's almost close to 15 to 20% year on year. We have a new strategy going forward called 5 million tourists in 5 years. But that strategy came together where public enterprise, private enterprise sat around a table, put this robust strategy together, funded the strategy, and drives that message throughout its marketing activations and its channels going forward. So if anything today, my key point is that, and support your DMO. Your destination management organization, tourist body, or your convention bureau said will be the vehicle that drives that message across the world, builds on those activations, and I can guarantee you from that, and it's a long term, it doesn't happen short term, especially in a competitive world, you're competing against some serious destination management organizations around the world who put a lot of funding, a lot of effort into marketing their particular country, city, town, whatever. You'll be amazed that within some countries you can have something like 20, 30 convention bureaus, 20, 30 tourism management companies just selling one country. That is how competitive it is out there. But if you put those collective minds together with your and working with your destination management in managing your destination and marketing, and we'll talk about marketing and managing a destination and going through. But that's really from my side is what I just wanted to leave with you folks to say, very, very important. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. So now let's get into a few of the issues that you've raised. I think the issue of the pillars of destination marketing is quite clear now. But what would you say are the fundamental differences between destination marketing and management? Greg, I'll start with you.
Well, I think it's a very complex thing, but I think they really work. We talk about destination management marketing. I always say marketing is and as I said, is the vehicle that drives the activations, the marketing activation going forward. The management thereof is how do you manage that marketing activations? And I always say it's like your management is a guy driving the car. The car is the marketing, and the management is a guy driving it. They fundamentally work hand in hand. It's one thing putting all these wonderful activations, marketing strategies, all out there and everything. But one's got to manage the thing, and there's certain fundamentals, like I say, we were talking about in managing these things. And this is looking at your return investment, looking at statistics. What is the world doing? What is in your particular region or city? What kind of stats are coming through? A colleague, like I said, Darren will chat about this later. Stats is so important. We live in a world where somebody's mentioned we've got information on tap. It is flowing through our cell phones, through information all the time. It's really there, but it's really taking that and building your marketing and managing that marketing around of the information you get in a destination.
Is there anything you want to add?
I fully agree, and as I said also initially during the presentation, it's so important that you think marketing in every aspect of what you do, everything. It's really about building the community. We can sit here and discuss strategy for days, but there's not one strategy that fits all. You need to develop your own local strategies, your own local USPs, as Greg mentioned. And first and foremost, you definitely also need the local commitment to the industry. Otherwise, it will never work.
So you think it's important that every country has a destination management organization, or something that we can do away with?
I mean, it's definitely critical, but I think it's also important that destinations try to think in, so how can we utilize all the resources within the industry? Could we form organizational bodies that investors like myself or my company can approach and have a one-way direction towards? So you don't have to speak to 4 or 5 organizational bodies in order to move somewhere. So if you could somehow utilize that to make sure that you think through the whole potential food chain, as I said, it's really everything. And then you have somebody who is steering that whole process, because that will attract investment for sure.
Let's stay there. I mean, how do you create that culture of innovation within an organization or in a country that wants to market itself?
It's a good question. I can tell you what we try to do within Kuoni. So we actually organized 63 congresses this year in 15 different countries, 35 different cities. So I work with multiple nationalities, and if I didn't have the local engagement, it would never work, because if I have a top-down strategy that this is how we do congresses, there's a big difference from handling a congress in Kuala Lumpur or Rome, Italy, Because there's a difference in culture, there's a difference in taxation, there's a difference in basically everything. That's what I mean. So you need a common mission and vision, but then you also need the local add-on to top that.
Okay, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think So from a local perspective, and you say embrace, and really it comes back to the thing is what is your story? Take your story, and when putting the particular strategic strategy together for a particular market, and that is ensure that, like you say, you share that strategy with everybody within the communities. And we talk about business communities, we talk about communities, the man in the street putting it through, and that ensure, and I think the minister said this morning, and I loved the terminology. He said, Ghana, the center of the world. And for me, I thought, wonderful, Ghana, the center of the world. That for me would be the byline. Really work on that Ghana center. What makes Ghana so special? What are the unique selling points of Ghana? I've been here a couple of days, and what I've picked up is the food, the laughter, and the wonderful colors. Those are the kind of things to get through, but get that across right through industry, right through private. Everybody has to buy into that, embrace that going forward. If that's what is needed to get that message across.
I mean, you mentioned public-private partnership as an imperative. What would you say is the impact of external stakeholders in that conversation?
Sorry,
external stakeholders.
No, I think it's imperative. I think, like I say again, I think stakeholders, all stakeholders, external stakeholders, besides the public and private, so from your Ministry of Tourism right through to hoteliers, through to tour operators, everybody that's involved and has a vision. If their vision is tourism in a particular destination, those stakeholders have to sit around a table, ask the question, what are we trying to achieve? What's the objectives? And I'll use Ghana example. What is Ghana? What is your story? Tell the story. But those stakeholders going through is imperative, and also to fund. Destination marketing organisations is. It's like you said, is what's the importance? It's very important. Like also, what are countries without governments? We need them for direction, and so tourism really is the control and sort of the direction of what we do within tourism. But use mechanisms within that, and like I said, it's filling that gap. Government or public, the public or private can't do it on their own. You have to have that collective of holding hands together, but that one collective vision going forward to saying, right, our vision is to sell a particular destination, a city X, Y, and Z, and take that and going forward in that. But also, once again, make sure it goes out, not just in that nucleus of that particular guy sitting around a table, or it has to be right through everybody within that community or country or the city has to embrace it and actually show it.
Well, Mats, Ghana just about 2 weeks ago outlawed a list of ambassadors. Would you say influencer marketing works in the space of destination marketing?
Well, for Ghana, naturally it does. What I see is probably a need to gather all the good intentions that you have here, because you need to build a solid foundation in order to stand on that. And I think you have all the ingredients to succeed. You have great hospitality among the people. You need to create also the touristic culture among the locals for them to see that it makes sense, that it makes a difference. So if you see your neighbor being employed, that makes a difference. So you need to have the local commitment in order to really back it up. Then, as Craig mentioned before, you have plenty of good, solid external stakeholders here who are ready to put money into this, and also to put sustainable amount of money in over several years. This is not a quick win. Yes, I agree there are low-hanging fruits, but it's probably a long-term investment for the long-term benefit, for sure. So you have everything here. All you need to do is put it together, and it will be a success.
All right. I think you can do better. So in terms of destination marketing, do you look at playing in a niche or doing mass marketing in that sense? Yes.
If I can take it. Well, depends on, I mean, if you've got some need, can you hear me? All right, is that better? Let me just turn like that. If you look, well, it's, you have some operators who look at mass marketing, you have some operators niche marketing. I think I think with as I said, with the power of social media and information on tap, I think we can't get into a space of just mass marketing anymore. You know, we do mass market to certain destinations, but there is a very much niche marketing, and there is very much what we see with the millennials. People want to see new destinations, not the same old destinations. So the marketing strategies that most destination management organizations or DMCs would look at is right across the board. It's it's focused marketing on certain products, certain destinations. Yes, there's mass marketing going through, and that's, if some DMCs, I'm sorry, Kearney's very much, correct me if wrong, is probably more into mass marketing, but they're also within sectors of very focused on sort of more niche marketing, and that guys that are interested in particular things.
Thank you. Now we'll go to the audience. I believe, as Peter said, we want to get interactive this morning. So, all right, I see in our midst the Honorable Minister of Works and Housing, Honorable Atachia. He wants to ask the first question. So let's hear him.
Thank you very much. It's not a question as such, but I'm trying to use this forum created by my good colleague for assistance. I had the benefit of going to Israel, and if you should ever step on the beaches of Israel, you realize that people, by all means, go and spend their money at the beaches. When I assumed office as the Minister for Works and Housing, I have the responsibility to do what we call coastal protection. Because 550 kilometers of our coastline is under the threat of the ferocious sea. Now, we do not have one single feasibility analysis as to the economic use that Ghana should put its coastline. Some people believe that all you need to do is to get boulders and drop them to prevent the sea from eating the land. But in some jurisdictions, the beaches have become veritable areas of foreign exchange earnings. We have a problem, and somebody says, for us to do a proper feasibility analysis of our coastline to put it to the best and optimum economic use is going to cost Ghana $2.5 million, which is outside my budgetary allocation. I do not know whether you have ideas as to how some, funding outside Ghana can come and assist me to do a proper analysis of the economic benefits of my coastline. And it's going to attract huge foreign exchange returns. We have a situation in which you have the sea, and they've reclaimed the sea. And overlooking the sea is a world-class hotel, 5-star hotel overlooking the beach. And people just step down, walk on the beaches, go and swim, and walk back into the hotel. This is a request that I think that I should use this opportunity to find out whether, given your clout, we'll be able to find some funding outside my budget so that I put our coastline to the best economic advantage. Thank you.
Thank you. Craig wants to respond to that quickly.
I think, the two, Minister, I think the $2.5 million, we'll leave that to you.
Yes.
to how we come up with that. But I think, yes, the very thing, part of your strategy, the marketing strategies is ecotourism. And we always say what we take out of tourism, we must put back in. And just to answer the question, absolutely. I mean, the coastlines of the West Africa coastlines are fantastic. It is a fact that coastal countries and coastal towns is a big draw card for tourists. I think Ghana has an absolute, you're sitting on I was going to say gold mine, but I guess you're sitting on a gold mine, particularly, make tourism the new gold. But there we go.
Yes.
But I think, yes, I think the investment is needed. And I think if you take your coastals, I don't know much of your coastlines, but use the coastlines, develop the coastlines. It is a huge draw card. If we look at places like Greece, Thailand, that are beach destinations, we have certain countries around the world that are, we call them beach mongers, and they just go after it. And the Nordics are no different. They love the beach destination. The Russians love beach destination. So if you can create this real beach hub, I mean, 6 hours from Europe, 9 hours from the Americas, and really that folk within that strategy, I would think that beach destination would be the big key thing. There are organizations, just to put through, called the Blue Flag Organization. Blue Flag Organization is a very, very worldwide prominent, where they'll come and test the waters, look at the beach, look at the quality of the sand, is the beaches clean, what are the facilities in that, and you'll get a blue flag and get a blue flag status. Now people around the world, especially in diving, will come to diving spots, but they want to know, and they'll ask, what is your blue flag? Do you have a blue flag status? So those are the kind of organization one can tap into. But beach destination, definitely a big draw card. And especially, somebody's between, all year round, 22 to 33 degrees is Ghana. I mean, wow. You practically summer all year round. It's a beach destination.
Thank you. Doug, yes. That's an interesting one, Mats.
Interesting question. The points you made out that there will be certain pressure from the United States, Europe, etc., towards it. But look at it this way: you're in the business of making lasting memories, so that goes beyond political interests. So I think actually let that be the beginning of the business case for your fine school. And you will quickly discover that even centralized pressure can't compete with that. I think Craig just touched it before. You have some uniqueness in this continent that needs to be explored further. And don't stop by being intimidated by such pressure or such ideas. Build it up from within. Again, have the local commitment and you'll see results, trust me.
Just add to that, I think, just to answer the thing, it's not a quick fix. I think the reality is that whatever strategy you're going to put together, you're not going to get a quick fix. It is a long-term strategy. But, it's very, very important is that as long as you get the local stakeholders and public and private buy-in, there will be long-term effects going forward. We see it, and we talk about Africa in particular. We look at countries that actually have embraced this and have really put these strong activations together. It is a long-term effect. It can take a decade, 2 decades. But once you plug that strategy and say, right, that's our strategy for the next 20, 30, 50 years, you'll see things coming through. But it's not a short term. There is a lot of low-hanging fruit, and we saw beach destination, or your beach is, to me, would be a low-hanging fruit to start from as a basis, but it is a long-term effect.
Not a quick fix? Yes, from you.
I have the mic.
Okay, all right, you have the mic, all right.
Yes.
This is ambush marketing, not destination marketing. All right, go on.
Hi, my name is Juliet Asante. My question is, as a country like ours with limited resources, what do you focus on first, content or infrastructure? What will be your advice? Thank you.
Well, as I said, I think earlier, if you don't have content, of course you don't need infrastructure. But it is really one connected circle, unfortunately. So what I would do is definitely to define, so what is your story here locally? What do you need to facilitate? What kind of tourists in particular do you see the relevance of attracting? Once you know that, then it's easier to build the national business case around that. Will it be, I met a guy yesterday at the very nice cocktail reception who's doing eco-tourism in the north. Is that the thing? Is it the historic forts you want to build it around? Is it Scandinavian people? Is it UK people? Is it Russians? Try to limit down where you see the obvious connection and then build the need around that.
And
Maybe
all right.
just add, it's, I think it... All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Keeps it going. I think it's always a situation of, it's always the chicken and egg, what comes first? And I think, yes, content's very important, but I think more importantly, what we would particularly look at, and I think it's not just destination management companies, but tourists. Remember, at the end of the day, we talk about end consumers buying products coming through. Infrastructure is very important. Tourists, people who travel the world are well-traveled, they're spoiled. They want to make sure that, there's good airlift strategy, there's good transportation, good hotels, and it's all about the experience. The experience is something we can write up going through. So we also, the chicken or the egg, and I always say it's the chicken. Get the infrastructure and it's always very difficult. With limited funds, it's not as simple as just getting infrastructure in place. But I do believe if you have a national tourism plan, and that national tourism plan is put together with all stakeholders, that investors, and you share that national tourism plan with stakeholders around the world, hoteliers, investment houses, banks X, Y, and Z, and they believe in the national tourism plan and it can work, and there's a long-term effect, sustainable effect, job creation, promotion, all of that go through, people will buy into it. The funds would come, the investments would come, and then comes the egg.
Okay. All right, we'll take the last one, and then... Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Ben Iden. I'm a Ghanaian, an investor, a diasporan, and a hotel operator. My question is about collaboration. I think that within the sector we can be very happy at the appointment of a tourism minister who has a seat on the cabinet of the country. Because we have a belief that this should enable the voices and the concerns and the opportunities of those who operate in the sector to be raised at the most important level of governance. But I think that there is a collaboration which we also believe, I personally believe, is essential. And that is a collaboration between those departments and ministries that have an impact on tourism. I wanted to ask the panel, what can they share with us about the changes that might be necessary to, say, get immigration, environment protection, roads, local assemblies, working together to try and achieve the objective of growth and performance in tourism in Ghana. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we take the last one, I think the little that I can share on that, is that at the ministerial level in Ghana, for example, there's an interministerial committee at the cabinet level that looks at the various impact points on tourism. So, for example, roads. The Ministry of Roads, the Minister of Roads is part of that committee. You have the Minister of Foreign Affairs when it comes to the issue of visa acquisition, environmental issues. The Minister of Environment, Science and Technology is part. So that collaboration at a very senior level of government seeks to bring to the fore the issues that impact the various pillars of tourism. And that's the lead that we have taken, working with the ministry. But I want to hear from Craig and Matt.
I fully agree, and thank you for the question. It's a good one. I think if you look around you, you'll find some good examples. Actually, not because it's my hometown, but what they did, for instance, in Denmark is here they also had a very fragmented setup before in the days. And I think Craig also touched it, the need to bring together tourism government or tourism public interest together with private interest. To do that, in order to attract the private investors, they need to feel that they have some value for money. That's unfortunately how they think. So my own company, that's how it works. So you need to create a forum where they actively participate together with the public interests. it goes without saying that those two has to go hand in hand. And just like when you have a court case sometimes, maybe you need to mediate, maybe you need to create sort of a impartial third party where these two interests meet. That will be my recommendation, is actually to try to attend a trade fair, talk to some of the cities and countries who successfully did that. Actually, even in Western Europe and States, many failed. It's not easy. But there are some success stories where you are able to engage public interest and private interest. And in the end, as I said, it should be a win-win.
Great. And then
I think from my side, you're a tour operator, so I hear you. So, I can only share what we've done in our country, South Africa. So when you look at tourism, tourism is not just one, it's not one facet. There's so many facets to tourism. So, and this has been, it also took us 25 years to sort of get to this in an organized state to a point. But what we did is, just as an example, maybe I can share with you, is that in South Africa, you have associations like you have all around the world. You have tourism associations that represent your tour operators. You have FADASA that represents your hospitality. You have IATA that represents the airlines. So you've got all these different associations with all their qualms and all the things. So what we did is, right, we took all the associations, said every association plays its part. One has its issues or its want to share good news or whatever through the airlines, the hospitality, the tourism sector, and these are the associations. What we created was a Tourism Business Council of South Africa. Because, at the end of the day, ministers, when you want to share government, ministers are very busy moving around. They can't. So what we thought is, how do we box something and give it through to the minister and say, right, minister, we speak as a collective voice for the industry, and these are the issues. So what we created is the Tourism Business Council of South Africa. It's an entity, and also the Tourism Business Council of South Africa also controls the tourism levies, which that levy then goes to the Destination Management Organization to market the country. But so the council was created, and every CEO or president of those associations then sits on this Tourism Business Council and shares their views. So you have the tour operators, the airlines, the hospitality, the national parks, all on this. And that collectively is put together, and we call it's boxed together. And that person then takes it to the Minister of Tourism, says, Honourable Minister, here are the issues of the collective industry, and it's coming from every facet. We found that it's more of a triangular effect, we think. It's taken from the masses, moving it through, and then putting it through to the ministry. And we found that it was much easier and cleaner because it was from the collective. And then, of course, what you can on the other side of that would be the road systems, the beach systems, and all that on the other side of that going forward. So that's kind of really how we've sort of organized that within ourselves.
Thank you. So we'll take the last one and then we're done.
Good morning, good afternoon by now, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how long you guys have been in Ghana. I've been here a few years more than you. I'm a Ghanaian myself. I know the tourism industry. I've been working in it for years. I'm a graduate of the hotel school, and I was specialized my last year in mass tourism. As you can see, Ghana's tourism industry is an infant industry. I don't know if you have recognized it, but we Ghanaians are very proud people. Because of that, we sometimes overestimate ourselves. And I've seen a beautiful video which doesn't overestimate Ghana. But if a Ghanaian says we need hotels, he's thinking about 5-star hotels. There's no modesty, there's aiming high and aiming for the top. As I said, we have an infant industry. What are the dangers of marketing Ghana as a destination which is aiming too high? Because I'm warning people, and I would like to know that from you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Did you hear it completely?
All right, so we'll take this one and then we are done.
There you go.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think anything in tourism, you need a cross-reference, or you need not just 5 stars, but you would need a whole collective of tourism products, 5, 4, 3-star right across the thing. It's always difficult. Yes, if you're looking at just aiming high, bringing 5-star products within Ghana, you might be aiming too high on that. But I think there's always a place. There's a place for 5 stars. There's a place for 4, 3 stars. But I think as a market matures and as it goes through, you'll find that more investors will come on board and buy in that. I don't know if it quite answers your question, because I'm not really a hotelier in that, but maybe Matt can answer. But as a DMC, as an operator, we'd like to see a cross-reference of different kinds of products, not just one particular product, not sort of what we call a sort of a luxury collection or just luxury. We'd like to see right across, because we do cater for all markets, and this is 3, 4, 5-star market. So what we'd like to see in a destination, that it can cater for everybody, for every consumer, depending on their pocket size and that.
All right. Thank you very much. I think we'll leave it here. The conversation continues after this. Thank you. Peter, over to you. Thank you.
That's it. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, can we have a big hand for our panelists? Because I think they had a wealth of information that they shared with us. And as you were hearing, it really is, there's so many areas to coordinate and put together. And I guess this is one of the reasons why a gathering such as this is critically important. Let's look at all these different pillars and let's see how we can put them all together so that we can unlock that potential that we're sitting with, which is enormous. I think we're just scratching the surface. Ghana at 5 to 7%, that is a drop in the ocean compared to what you could be doing, and the same with the rest of the continent. And the things that we have got going for us is that our economies are growing faster than other parts of the world. There's this interest in emerging economies, and so we could attract all of this FDI and these visitors that come with it if we just do the right things. So let's try and unlock those things and fulfill our potential. We can create millions of jobs, take people out of poverty if we get this right. And we've already got the assets and the people that people would want to come and visit. Okay, so we're going to change the program a little bit, just because time is working a little bit against us. And so instead of having the next panel, I'm going to ask another one of our guest speakers now to join us on stage. Now, many of you would know him, actually. I mean, he's a man who spent most of his life in public service, having been a member of parliament for 36 years. And he's perhaps best known for his roles as Home Secretary and Foreign Secretary, but he did serve other notable roles. In fact, he was one of only 3 people who served in the cabinet continuously under the Labour government between 1997 and 2010. Sometimes controversial, but never afraid to speak his mind. We're very lucky to have a man whose enormous experience in politics speaks to us about the political impacts of tourism in the region. Have we got that picture? So here's the thing. I just thought we'd share this with you to see just how far back this man goes. There we go. This is young Jack Straw. Back in 1974 campaigning. Do you remember that? And so that was the beginning of quite an esteemed career over time. But ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for former Home Secretary, Foreign Secretary, Jack Straw. Come back here, won't you?
So that everywhere in the world, once you see this tower, you will know that this is the true center of the world. And let us attract all the patrons, all the tourism patrons out there who travel for reasons of pleasure, for religion, for golf, sports, for entertainment, into this country. So that is a few of the things we are doing in Ghana. And so for our friends who have come from far and near, if you have money, you are looking for where to put it. We promise you Ghana is the place. Ghana is ready to receive that money, and we'll work with you to actualize that dream, and you will be profitable in the process as well. There are clear laws. The GIPC boss, once he mounts the pulpit, the stage, will expatiate and some of those and why you should come to the country. Therefore, may I have this opportunity to invite to join me for the next session, a discussion on tourism investment in Africa, the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, Mr. Yofi Grant. Thank you, Mr. Grant. And also to join in the discussion, may I have the pleasure of inviting Mr. Bugra Beboroglu. I've been rehearsing this for the last 24 hours. Who's the Group President and CEO of River Rock Hotels and Resorts. Thank you, sir, for coming. So we'll go. Yeah. Two. Good. Thank you. We'll go right into the discussions, and we'll begin from home appropriately, I believe, starting with Mr. Yofi Grant. And many have asked the question whether government should even be involved in the issue of tourism and tourism development, especially with relation to infrastructure. Should government get involved in tourism?
An absolute yes. An absolute yes, because even before you attract investments, you have to make sure that there's certain clarities. For example, there's land available. There are rules, there's protection, and we've spoken about security here. We must understand what the opportunity is. Is it a business? And are you attracting internal customers? Are you attracting external customers? So what happens to your visas? Are they readily available? And if somebody wants to come here on tourism, would he have a quick visa? I can give you an example. I went to Turkey last week. It took me not more than 3 minutes to get my visa online. I mean, it was so fast that it was almost unbelievable. So you can imagine the number of people who go to Turkey, because it's just easily available. You can easily get your visa and go. And there are many other destinations that offer a similar thing. And it's governments who facilitate these. And so it's important to have government involved and to have government play a real supporting role to open up the space for investment and also open up the space for the opportunity to be exploited.
Interesting you mentioned the speed with which you can acquire a visa, for instance, in a place like Turkey. Stepping out of the service and coming to infrastructure specifically, what interventions can governments make directly to improve infrastructure?
I think that's the answer is clearly land acquisition. And we know the problems with acquiring land in Ghana. But happily, government has embarked on a significant program, first of all, to digitally map the whole country using satellite, such that every 5 by 5 square meter of the land is given a specific address. And because this will be digital and online, then we can actually separate ownership from usage and enable people access land easier than before to do their business. Because even if you want to build a hotel, you need to secure title to the land. And sometimes it's very difficult to do so. So this is one area where government has stepped in to enable that to happen. Now, talking of infrastructure, So once again, there's a significant program to build a highway, north-south highway, 6-lane highway, to enable movement from the south to the north of Ghana on a nice, attractive highway, but also a high-speed train right from Accra into Burkina Faso. This would also join the western link of the railway that's going to be built, the eastern link, and then the link from Kumasi straight to the north. Because it's important. I mean, there's so many tourism assets in Ghana, some of them far away from the urban areas, for which access is important. And therefore, government needs to build the roads, because you don't expect the private investor to build the road to their destination. It's government's job to provide that infrastructure. So I am here to say that we are on track on that. There's an integrated transportation plan that will integrate rail, roads, water, and air. For example, there's a plan to build a new airport that will have a significant throughput of more than 20 million a year. There's going to be significant improvement on all the three regional airports that we have, to upgrade them to international standards, such that it could also serve the sub-region, and you can have visitors coming from the sub-region into the north of Ghana, into Kumasi, into Takoradi, easier than before. And so all these are very important infrastructural developments that will facilitate the growth of tourism.
Thank you. Indeed, specific and very significant investments in the area of airports, roads, integrated transport, land. Bugra, let me come to you.
Sorry, I didn't mention one very important one, which is also lends itself to tourism. That is the Volta Lake. The Volta Lake is going to be part of that integrated transport system. But it's also a very nice lake to go on. And I can tell you there are great plans out there in the Volta near Akosobo to do some significant things, like to lay the world's longest zip line onto an island on the lake, which we've discussed. In fact, I discussed with him this morning. So we believe that all these opportunities are there, and whilst it's going to provide transport, it's also going to provide significant tourism opportunities as well.
I can certainly see the smile on the face of the Honorable Minister with the mention of the zip line. That's a discussion that has been ongoing for some time, and we are happy it is happening and will happen. So, Bugra, let me come to you.
Yeah.
Coming from the private sector, what if you're going to invest? So you are welcome to Ghana. I believe you are coming to Ghana, you are investing. What would you expect? What are your expectations?
Well, of course, there are many points that has been discussed this morning, what an investor will expect. But infrastructure is important, but it is not a decisive for an investor to come to Ghana. I've heard so many different plans that you have been discussing about the Marine Drive, the other things that the Ghanaian government has been working. I think what has to be created is a trust has to be established with the investor and the government and the country and the people. I think this is the most important thing, because no investor today wants to come anywhere in the world and lose his money. You know, people invest to make money, but of course there are other things that comes with it. You know, to help the country to grow, help the people, create jobs. These are all goes together, hand in hand. You cannot take one and have the other. So all has to go hand in hand. I think there has been some very good initiatives which has been started with the Ghanaian government for the last few years, and when we say investment friendly, it has to be investor friendly. Okay, just saying is that we are an investor friendly country and we are waiting investors because we have this and that does not necessarily bring the investors.
So specifically, investment friendliness.
Yes.
What exactly would you want to see?
No, as an investor, I want everything. I want tax-free, I want no customs, I want this, I want that, of course. No, but it has to be give and take. You know, you cannot give an investor everything and not get anything in return. So that has to have an equal balance, what you give and what you take. But saying that does not necessarily make it happen. So there has to be an established rules what the country gives to an investor, and it has to be give and take. As an investor, it's like anybody. As a government, as a country, you want everything from the investor, and the investor wants everything from you. So there has to be an equal balance. It has to go. There are many examples in Africa and other parts of the world who has successfully created. I think the first presentation, our friends who has given examples from Thailand, from Bali, which is a little bit on the other side of in Asia, what they have actually done. You have an example of Turkey on tourism. Today, in 2015, 35 million tourists to Turkey, 16 million tourists only to Antalya, one city. So there are examples that are there, and in some cases, some countries has used foreign investors. Some countries, they use their own investors and brought the savoir-faire, as we say in French, from outside. So to ask me, I don't have the exact recipe. I don't know what an investor needs. Investor will need everything, but that is, I think, needs to be discuss at the investment committee and agree on certain things. And depending on the investment and where it is, that can be altered. Nothing is written on stone also. An investor might have different needs than the other one.
Yes.
So I think flexibility, if you ask me what an investor needs, I think the word that I will use is flexibility. To be able to work together when the investor needs something, that the government is there, and vice versa.
Yeah. Mr. Grant, he wants incentives, he wants tax breaks, he wants flexibility. You are in government. How do we help him?
We definitely are on track with that, because at the GIPC, we are also leading, in conjunction with the Ministry of Trade and Industry, the Ministry of Business Development, and the Ministry of Finance, the Senior Minister's Office, and the Office of the Vice President, on significant reforms for investors into Ghana. We're looking to make, and the President did say that in the short term, he expects that Ghana should be the best place to do business in Africa. And he said it, but it wasn't a promise, it was a plan. In accordance with the plan, we have actually highlighted certain areas where we think we need significant reforms, because investment capital is very competitive. And so the first thing we've done is to do a peer review. We are comparing ourselves to the attractive countries like Rwanda, like Mauritius, like South Africa, like Kenya, like Tanzania, even Senegal. What have they done that has brought about a shift? And can we do it better? But where we are leading to right now is to make sure that we remove as much upfront cost for investors coming in, and make sure they can do their business, and then we can tax them thereafter. We think it's a better model for attracting investment capital. Now, Bugrab mentioned something very important, that do you use indigenous capital or do you use foreign capital? For us, it's a mix. It's what makes sense and will make Ghana that place that everybody wants to be. And so we are partnering indigenous capital, and capital is just not only money, or investment is not only money. It's also know-how, it's also human capital. So we want to put the two together. International capital coming in to meet with local, know-how, etc., to build a great place to do business. So we are looking at our laws, we are looking at incentives that we can give, but we also very clearly want to create a situation where we have a winning and a long sustainable partnership that will also bring up the local knowledge base to the extent of investors. And so, like you said, as they invest, they also bring know-how. So we want a situation where we can benefit from that significantly, all to the mutual benefit of the investor and the economy.
Bugra, I believe that makes you happy. A lot of upfront costs is eliminated. There's a certain willingness on the part of government to grant you the relevant incentives and also partner you relative to technical know-how with land. That makes you happy, isn't it?
No, absolutely. You see, when there's a will, there's a way. And when we do business, there are costs, and it's normal. But what is important, again, as Mr. Yofi said, that he said it has to be a long-term relationship, okay? When you do an investment in tourism, it's never for a short term. We're not coming in, selling something and going out. If we come in, we're there at least for the foreseeable future, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. So this is a long time. So that relationship has to be established, and that is very important. And in order to, we all know relationships needs nurturing and caring and flexibility. So once we can, if we can establish that, then I think Ghana can and should and shall attract many, many investors in the hotel industry.
Thank you. Mr. Grant, taking from Matt's presentation, he made reference to the fact that the average cost per hotel room, 5-star, is on the average $250,000 per room. We've talked about some of the things that will bring this cost down. Looking at a bigger picture, the general picture, should governments look at, especially in Africa, because we want to attract investments, make tourism a deliberate economy in terms of policy to pursue? Because now it looks like it's been ad hoc. We've seen it as the thing you do when the others don't work. But looking at the potential of tourism, shouldn't we look at it as a deliberate economy to pursue?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we can't take tourism as the thing you do when you have nothing else to do. Tourism is a real economy generating jobs. I mean, South Africa alone, over the past 5 or 6 years, 680,000 plus jobs built up in tourism, significant tax revenue. And I think in Ghana the same. We could definitely elevate tourism to an economy that provides jobs, but also taxes for government. It can't be accidental, it must be deliberate. I mean, it's interesting because Bugra and I flew from Antalya yesterday, and I kept asking, so how long did it take the Turkish government to do this? I'm told less than 15 years.
Yeah, more, a little bit slightly, yeah.
You know, but Antalya is a city of, I'm told, a population of 3 million. On the average day, the total population, including tourism visitors, is about 15 to 20 million. Now, can you imagine how much that is generating, in the economy? So it's a significant, growth pool for any economy. And clearly, as the Minister of Finance says, we can't grow this economy from taxes and debt. You need to go to productivity. And I think that one of the low-hanging fruit for us in this country is tourism. The assets are there. You just need to develop them and also develop the infrastructure to be able to harness all that into an economy.
Tourism is indeed a low-hanging fruit, and statistics from the United Nations tell us 1 out of every 11 jobs is in this industry.
Correct.
If you take every 11 jobs, 1 is coming from the tourism sector. Maybe let me give opportunity to members of the audience to ask questions, and then we'll come back. So if I see a hand at the back.
Just before a question.
Before we come to you, so note your question.
Just a short comment.
Yes.
I think it's very misleading and on giving cost on hotel rooms, okay? Because there are hotels that has cost $1 million a room. In Turkey, we do a 5-star hotel around $30,000, $40,000. So in Africa, it's slightly more expensive. But today, there are technologies there are things that can be done much cheaper. So I think when you say $250,000 or $300,000, 200-room hotel, X cost, the amount becomes, I think, unnecessarily scary, which is not the case.
Yep.
Okay. You can today, with the new technologies, with prefabricated steel constructions, we can do a 4-star hotel room at less than $10,000. Okay.
The Honorable Minister says, bring it home. Bring it home to Ghana.
I think in addition to what Bugra is saying, I mean, it's such a significant development. And when you talk of hotels, people always think 5-star. I'm not sure the objective is to build more 5-star hotels. The objective is to get enough rooms to cater for a growing tourism opportunity. I mean, even in Dubai, you have 5-star, 7-star hotels that at certain times of the year, because of what they know they can attract, you get those rooms for $200 or less. So yes, you're right. It's sometimes misleading to think that, oh, we need to have a room at a cost of 250,000, to attract visitors. No, you have concepts coming up in the world like Airbnb, where you actually have homes that are turned into hotels temporarily. And of course, the traditional and proverbial Ghanaian hospitality, which we can't put a finger on. And it's sometimes mystic because there's just something about Ghana and Ghanaians, this affable feeling about people here that is attractive to people. Whenever I go out, and I've been doing a lot of travel here, anytime I say Ghana, then the next thing I hear is Ghana. There's this affection to the name and the country and to the people. And people just love to be here. Sometimes you don't know what they're doing, but they just want to be here because it's a good feeling. And I keep saying, whenever I go for my investment drives, when I finish, I go on the lighter note and I says, despite our warm tropical weather, we are a cool country with cool people. And with a cool president as well.
That's the point where we clap.
And a cool minister.
And a cool minister.
And a cool minister.
And we get the coolest visitors coming in as well.
Ghana is indeed a cool country. A cool country for that matter, and we are ready. We are ready. So let me go to the audience. The hand at the back. I think that hand came up first. The lady, and then respectfully, I'll come to me and to Doc.
Hello, my name is Juliet Asante. I asked this question earlier, but I'm going to ask it again because I think we are kind of glossing over it. At the beginning of the presentation, Mr. Entry, you spoke about all the investment in infrastructure, which is great. And Mr. Grant just said that sometimes people want to be here. They don't know what they're doing, but they want to be here. I'll just take that and leapfrog it into the conversation around investment in tourism. It all seems to be focused on infrastructure, which is great. But I'm sure that there's a lot going on in content that maybe we can talk about a bit. So people are coming here, everything is great, but what are they coming to do? So let's talk a little bit about investment in content. What are our projections? What are we doing? What can we expect? I really would want to hear about that a bit. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll take two more and then we'll respond to them. If the microphone can come here, in the meantime. Oh, sorry, we have just one mic.
Good afternoon, Mr. Yofi. I beg to vary a bit from all I'm hearing. I come from the hotel industry and a council member of GATOF. I felt very sick when I heard the beautiful things being pronounced of the good things GIPC is doing for us. And it's very painful. For instance, there are about 24, 25 trade associations in tourism being under GATOF. But I want to talk specifically about the hotel industry, which I belong to. Currently,
if we can make it.
Currently, we are being choked with multiplicity of taxes. Multiplicity of taxes. Duplication of taxes. When you get to Tema, I mentioned specifically, and I want you to take notice of that. You have to take a permit from TDC and also get another permit from TMA, building permit, which is a cheat. And when hotels are being built, just about when you finish building, you see the tax collectors all just around you like flies. It's very painful. And GIPC is not offering any good thing for us. For instance, it's not just the block work. We need a lot of things to make a beautiful hotel standing to be called a hotel. We pay high cost for all these kind of things without any tax for us. Please, I'm taking this opportunity for GIPC boss, for Mr. Yofi, to come to our aid as Ghanaians. We borrow money. If you watch the dailies every day, you see hotels being offered for sale. Hotel managers are dying. Not only that, other tourism plans are dying. So I'm taking this opportunity for the World Tourism Forum to note it that we want Nana, our president, to come to our aid. High tariffs of electricity, water, high cost of television, fridges, everything. And the tax collectors don't give us any rebate. They should give us some time. Like if we finish the project 6 months before we come for taxes.
Thank you. I think the point is made. I think the point is made. The duplication of taxes you want addressed. Mr. Grant will address that in a bit. So we'll go to Prof. and then we'll come to.
Thank you, Kojo. Well, hearing you talk about these fantastic initiatives, I'm very excited about it, and I'm actually looking forward to that. But if I cast my mind back to 2011, before I decided to come back to the country, I heard about Hope City. It never happened. We heard about affordable housing. It never happened. Between yourself, Akwesi, and Yofi, to what extent have you ring-fenced these initiatives so that we ensure their actualization?
Sorry, I didn't get that. Okay. Let me answer the question, sir.
I think we'll just take responses and then we'll come back. We'll start with you when we come back. Thank you.
I think for the first question on content, of course, very often is content and what is delivered to the tourist that attracts the tourist. And I'm not saying that tourism is limited to infrastructure. Our music, our food, and it's been spoken about here, our fabrics. I mean, I can tell you 2 years back, there was a bead exhibition at the Smithsonian in Washington on Ghanaian beads, which attracted quite a significant amount of, audience. Our music, our dance. I mean, I was surprised when I heard Azonto had gone worldwide. A dance that just picked up from somewhere in Accra.
It's coming back.
It's coming back.
Your location. It's exotic.
It's exotic,
Yeah,
so content is important. And I want to say here that one of the key developments in the Accra Marina project is to put a first-class film studio in Accra that can actually do first-class movies for Ghana and for the sub-region. So content is as powerful as the industry. I mean, I wear Ghanaian beads, and I was surprised that I'm still surprised that everywhere I go, there's a great fascination to these beads. And people ask me, what do they mean? Where did I find them? Once again in Turkey, I went and an old man just walked to me and asked me, where did I get the beads that I'm wearing? And I asked him why. He says, do I understand what they mean? Because he studied beads, and they were from Spain 200 years ago. So the content is sometimes a significant part of the asset that we need to package and sell. The kente cloth, unique and very attractive, is another of the assets that we need to talk about. So content is important, and as we are developing the infrastructure, we also need to pay attention to content, because that's what will even generate more excitement. For example, our festivals across Ghana, which are very exciting and very lively, are part of the content that we need to do.
Then there's the issue of
the taxes. I mean, it's a difficult one to bungle because government definitely needs taxes. That's what is going to be used to do the roads, to do the airports, to do that. So government will tax a business. Now, as to what is the optimal level of tax is another big question. But as I did say, that it is very clear that the new economic direction is not to develop the economy from taxes and debt, but from value added and production and productivity. So, and I do believe that the government is very aware of the situation of taxes and the import of taxes. And I'm sure for those of you who live in Ghana, the first budget by this new government, 15 taxes were removed. That puts 1 billion cedis back into the market for our indigenous people to do their businesses. Yeah. So it's an ongoing conversation, but it is very clear as I did say in my presentation, that the important thing to do is to remove as much upfront cost for investors, and that includes indigenous investors as well, and people.
Challenges with time, so I'll go to the lady, her hand has been up, and then we'll come to a lady in the front, and we will wrap up. We have to round up.
Hi, my name is Sheree Robinson. I'm the CEO of Tastemakers Africa. It's a peer-to-peer platform that connects travelers to local insiders in African cities. My question is really around, one, investments in digital tourism. So how are the promotion agency investing in digital platforms in Ghana that are, by and large, doing the job of selling Ghana to the outside world? And then my second question is, how are you helping locals who have investable assets understand the pipeline and understand the requirements for inbound investment as you are the interface between them and outside investors?
The sound is so bad.
Thank you. My name is Sarah Gustenmar, and I flew in from the UK, especially for this event. I'm very sorry I missed the beginning, but I do have a comment and a question. I spend a lot of time traveling. I go to Istanbul, I'm in Bebek, so I'm familiar. I'm in Germany, I'm Liberian German. And I do a project. One of my projects is called Cultural Crossings. And one of the things I find, I agree with everything that you have said, but there's a major problem for especially Northern European investors and the people that I know that is stopping them to invest in Ghana, and that is the problem of rubbish. It is 6.5 hours flying from the European continent. I've had no jet lag. It is absolutely fantastic destination. The beaches should be completely stunning, but I know a number of people who over the last couple of years have stopped spending their holiday beach time, not their holiday cultural time, because Ghana is amazing, but their beach time because of the situation of the rubbish. And I really believe that in Europe, if this was solved, the influx of people coming from the European continent would be unbelievable, because it is such a fantastic destination, but this is a national-wide problem. So I travel and I tend to take a lot of pictures, always positive pictures. I think it's very important to encourage, but I've actually found very hard this trip when I'm in beach areas because the rubbish is everywhere. And it pains me because I'm West African born and I know how fantastic the West African coast is, but it pains me that people are not coming because of that. So I do believe if that is tackled, investment and tourism will be increased straight ahead.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
I will answer that.
I'm receiving a signal that I should round up. The apologies, there are about 10 hands. The minister says I should take one. Last one. Thank you. Apologies to Nana because he has had opportunity already. The gentleman.
My name is Daniel Garland.
He will ask.
Give him a chance.
After.
It's all right. We'll give you a chance. We'll give you a chance. We'll give you a chance after. So you ask.
Yes, my
Just
name
be quick
is Daniel
about it,
Garland
yes.
from Addison Lee, Ghana. I want to know from Yofi Grant, what are we doing to export tourism, for instance? You're saying tourism within that, but what do we do to get I've lost my train of thought. But what I'm saying really is, tourism is all about experience, what people come here to experience. How do they take that back to where they come from? You know. Yeah.
Thank you. So the last one to our brother. That's the very last.
Thank you very much, our honorable panel. My name is Sifas Kobi. I'm a member of the AGI. My question is this: growing up in this country 10 years, 15 years back, we had PANAFest. All this that we're talking about revolves around trade fairs. And
kindly raise your voice
I
and
have
quick.
the feeling that the state has renegated itself of some of the paramount things that would promote tourism in this country. And I'm talking about it from the point of the events. Have we stopped our events that will showcase our rich traditional cultural heritage? If we do that, how can we improve the content? And that's what I want to ask.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. The first question was digital marketing for those who run in digital marketing platforms. How is government helping? And if they want to come in, set up, what's the requirements investment-wise for a company to come in and set up generally?
This is a tough one for me to answer because very often everybody comes to me at GIPC, especially the indigenous investors, says, how is government going to help us do this? Or how is government going to help us do that? And I remember I was in a workshop and a private individual got up and says, why is it that we're always asking government to help us do this or not help us do this? Just take the opportunity and run with it. And I must say that if you look at the digital space, a lot of young Ghanaians have taken the opportunity and run with it. What we have to do is to harness all that into a significant portal where you can see Ghana. And so we are, at this point, helping the Tourism Development Board and the Ghana Tourist Authority with the sort of images that we need to show. But at GIPC, part of our marketing drive is also, and we are working on it right now, is to have our 10-second blip on CNN, on BBC, Al Jazeera, CNBC, SABC, that will showcase Ghana. We've been trying to get to work with CNN to do it for us, because they've done it for many other countries. But we also, and I noticed these days that there's a lot of, the digital space is so broad that sometimes you don't even need the government. I'll tell you that some of the places I've been to in Ghana that I didn't know existed, I got from social media. And so that in itself is a powerful platform that I think the investor, the indigenous investor who wants to showcase the opportunities needs to develop. What we're doing at GIPC is also helping young investors, young business people. A couple of weeks back, we had a young investor entrepreneur forum, which was very well patronized, and we're able to match real indigenous investors who had succeeded with the younger ones coming up. And the message that I got from there was, we really don't even need the government to help us. Just make things cheaper for us to be able to do. And then that is all. We will take it at the advantage of good. But it's a very good point that we need to harness the new markets, because new markets today is just a buyer and a seller. It's not a physical location. And you can reach those markets using digital platforms much easier. So yes, I do agree with you. And if you want to help us at GIPC, we'll be very happy to have you come discuss how we can put things out much further.
Great. So you take Mr. Grant's card after the meeting. And then the other question was, how do we work to deal with rubbish at our beaches, the general government?
It's a major concern for everybody here. But I'll tell you that Accra, for example, has been called the city that turns its back to the sea. I believe the Accra Marina project will be a significant landmark that will change a lot of the behaviors along the sea. Rubbish is always a problem. It's a problem not only in Ghana. I mean, I'll tell you, I was in New York a couple of weeks back, and I was walking in Times Square, and I was appalled by the filth. But yet you have millions of people thronging there because of the other attractions. I'm not saying that we should entertain filth. I am more for actually respecting the environment and doing a lot more to keep the environment clean. And that includes filth. Yes, we need to work. It's a problem that needs to be addressed. And it's a great business, actually. I mean, filth is a great business for those who are looking for opportunity. Collecting filth is a great opportunity. But I think Bugra had a point to make on that.
I think everybody knows about the example of the cleanliness of Rwanda. And I think that can be taken as an example. Of course, it's a problem of an education, but I remember a couple of years after the genocide, I went to Rwanda and I smoked cigars, unfortunately. And I had a plastic bag, and I was walking down the stairs to go through the immigration, and then the immigration officer just pointed on the plastic bag. I thought he wanted a cigar, so I took a cigar. I gave him. He said, "No, I don't smoke." He said, "I want the bag." I said, "Why?" "Because you cannot get plastic bags."
Yeah.
So it's an effort that has to be done in whole, and I think the more you educate people about cleanliness, the Ghanaians, and I think she has a very, very valid point. The cleanliness is very important to the eye of the beholder when we see that that needs to be addressed.
And additionally, let me add that I think her question actually hits on a bigger issue of our living patterns and our behavior if we want to be a tourist destination. Whether we build a services culture, whether we carry the same respect that we have into all the activities we do. And that includes whether you want plastics to be all over the place, because we are very clear that they present a huge environmental menace. So should we ban plastics, as they've done in Rwanda, which probably makes it one of the cleanest cities? And so all these things are also behavioral patterns that we need to inculcate in our daily lives to make us an important tourist destination. It's just not the assets that are there and and the content, but the behaviors also facilitate tourism. But I'll tell you, even without the assets, business people will come here, and when they do business, they will use some of their time to buy food. To patronize our music, to patronize our clothing, etc., etc. So that's also secondary tourism that you get from business people. And so, yes, cleanliness is important. The way we handle food is important. The way we handle our environment are important. And I can assure you that very soon you see the heavy hand of government ensuring that Accra is a clean city. I'm sure you've heard that the mayor of Tamale has embarked on a very aggressive program to make Tamale a clean city. I think government plans includes bringing about smart city concepts to the capital as well. So just watch that space.
Thank you, and it's good to see the mayor of Kumasi here also, who initiated a clean environment program and started planting trees. Again, to restore what we have known as the garden city of Kumasi. So, Honorable Mayor, thank you. Additionally, the Honorable Minister also submitted an idea to introduce a coastal tourism development program to try and clean our beaches for purposes of tourism. Then there's the Destination Single Window Project launched by the Ghana Tourism Authority under the Ministry of Tourism to try and harmonize all our digital marketing efforts, and also the discussion ongoing with industry to try and bring down some of these taxes. So, thank you very much. If there are any last words, Bugra?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Grant. Thank you so much, and thank you for your participation. Please.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to take any more of your time. You've been a great audience. Thank you so much. We're going to break for lunch now. Please listen very carefully to the instructions. So, you're going to need your accreditation to go upstairs to the lobby area, and then you'll be directed to the right-hand side. Please take your accreditation. That's your ticket for food. This is your ticket for food. Otherwise, I'm afraid you'll just watch others eating. Okay. So, yeah. So please take your accreditation. Members of the media, hang on. Members of the media, you are going to go to the 3rd floor. But take your accreditation as well. Very important. Media, 3rd floor. There's a special room for you. And the rest of us, please, lobby area, go right. Okay. Please, can we try to be seated and ready to go at 2:45? 2:45. Set your alarms on your mobiles for 20
right.
to 3.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name still remains
And
the
that'll give you
Commander-in-Chief,
5
the
minutes to
Bombardier
get
Field
back.
Marshal Squadron.
All right, everybody, we'll see you after lunch. Many thanks.
Warrior, General Kabaka. And yeah, Bibi Sonko. Yeah, Bibi Sonko Kra. Yeah, dear, I know then. Yeah, Kasa Free Kempiski. Yeah, Kasa Free Kempiski Live. Yeah, Kasa Free Kempiski Live. Yeah, Kasa Free Kempiski Live. But no, Kasa World Tourism Forum, Africa Summit, Accra, Ghana, and I hold this year. Meeting is a Kwame Free Famesa. And yeah, Persia some plenty. Sarkodia Waha, Dara Kedi Waha, Lucky Mensa Waha, Anyuntofo Becca, any Miss V or Chame Kwame, Titini and Impobe Broha, Tourism Minister Ewaha say, GTA Boss, Kwesi, Ajamai, and so Waha, Enchibia Menu Mobako, Akwa Chokobo, Jumedian Statenra, a World Tourism Forum, Africa Summit, Accra, Ghana. Actually, this is the first time happened at Ghana. I say, in fact, Africa, you know, this is the first time it happened. Na mina midi jumedi no chiame. Samri Afrina yababiduha. Epa wada be jumedi ni yari aba Kempinski Hotel. Epa wada be jumedi Kempinski Hotel. We a special edition kwa ne boarding. Enche mene ye anyuntofo ne titiri ne nimpono ebe twetwe nkomo na monso mahunu de ekone de eba Happy 98.9 FM, any ETV, Happy 98.9 FM, taking it live at Happy 98.9 FM with your man Kwame Afrifa Mensah, the Commander-in-Chief of the Afternoon Airwaves. Commander-in-Chief of the Afternoon Airwaves. Let me go closer. Let me go closer and probably talk to a few people and see how the program went. Na ye ni sa nkomo no. Monyina sumame. Na ye twetwe nkomo. Right. Sisi a me wo Owura Kojo entry. On a Chief Executive Officer of Ghana Tourism Development.
Yes, send me an email. I should send you an email.
Owura Kojo entry GTDC. Yenye twetwe nkomo na ehunu de akoneba. Bakojo akwaba. Yama akwaba Happy 98.9 FM so.
Me dan say.
Bibi aboko there.
Me here pa yamia do mo so.
Right. Now, World Tourism Forum, because of World Tourism Forum, what I say?
World Tourism Forum ni ensha kesia nyamia dom Ghana. Ohwe amanonia. Afibia ni ensha kesia koso wo Turkey. Na ebi akoso wo London, England, Abrochi Chrome, ebi koso wo USA. But Africa hano, se kan ensha instruction juma for the policy makers said they from business moguls no investors no omo nyina ehia baby say afa adwen a ebi enhye da ni ho entino emri bi atwa mu amsa fi na hyase na etukwa ko Turkey na minister to na mo bi say say oma sa instruction juma nhie mu no ebi ba ha World Tourism Forum no enti we ni de dikan a World Tourism Forum no Africa Summit ebinsi
na Ghana ni start
ya host ya hwese ya de betumi aye atoaso ya ko enim no skazam kakra wo mu de but etumi nya appropriate partners na ya de ebe atoaso
Right. Now, Ceciano, what are the benefits of Ghana being say yatutu yansafre etitiri ni nimpo aba, but area no benefits being a room Ghana nso ebenya in terms of tourism na say.
Many benefits need to be brave. So share arrangements na ye na. Ye ka say ni ye dey projects ni so ade hunu. Tourism arrangements ye na ye dey ato investors na invite ye ni bi anim. Only you things I was so be one hotels chains. They say Castle Rock free, Paramount chain of hotels run or them happy. And to do 1 hour, but to do 1 hour, which you now can say Ghana, your boy who you are sassy, your position of Tessia Montiasi. And so we 2 and more now the bar or shall know who's idea mokino and probably Fimaba. And you know, the Cassia pie free and you see a Casanini in you two and ammonia massa in Krata. MOUs no agreements. Your projects in say Marine Drive, your center of the world, GH Akwaba Hotel, so coastal development projects, no minimum, Omoba boy, need to see near the sea, no see a Bessino. It's no see any there, and Krata, some the Dasuka was them, but Yashabo. And to us, I feel need to media and Sasha Shakrata Asema.
Right. Cecilia Yama break your time by near Berisumi. Now, Diana, I expect moving forward. No, walk away dream training.
Break near just 15 minutes. 15 minutes. But if you break now, your sessions in your be a diakaho. The first one, a regional differences in hotel marketing and management.
Okay.
So we are hotel beyond 5-star, or 2-star, 3-star, because a quite fast so a 5-star hotel no sa na ehwe so you say kura 1-star no so na anasa lodges no san komo ne obedin say you hear no a me akọ celebrity talks Ghana obi see your content ade ehia pa o Ghana mu han say ye wo mra ye wo amamre ye wo ntare ye wo duane ye wo yenyum ni na wo ho bebre e kwan me ne be fa so akra sa anyama ni na ni tumi kura wi a ye de tourism idea no so ahwejuma no ho enti say especially the friend of arts no the impact of the arts on tourism celebrity talks no ebehwe saade no
right any after see be program no ebesa no wedding komo yeah that's Baba Kojo Ora Kojo entry one na chief executive officer of GTDC Ghana Tourism Development Company ana yene ne twetwe komo no yene yamu fees ODG wo fi ase yene ne twetwe komo fees akwaba
infani one
happy 98.9 FM and ETV ana otienka no
bibia cool
na we do that many
beju enwe
fees ene ade na ekoso ha
I have see a friend of World Tourism Forum. So in the World Tourism Forum, we are here to communicate how we take Ghana to the world through our natural resources and everything that we have to offer, from music to dance to food to cocoa to everything else that's amazing about Ghana.
Right. Obama speech Jumedi Yasi.
Yeah,
okay, any okasa we are besa no wedding komo.
No, we're here to vibe. We the vibe for here. What we do? We the vibe.
We the vibe. Media no that super. Media the Kwame free from SA remain the commander in chief of the afternoon airwaves. Are you happy 98.9 FM? Many
we are part of the business, you know already.
Sakodie Ewofia see Sakodie Bibia the Dine Bibia. Are you happy 98.9 FM ETV and Ani Education Komono. Every I didn't go working this year.
I must say we are constantly tourism day, you know, and then like you say, hosting Accra, Ghana, you know, the World Tourism Forum. And lucky enough, the Minister for Tourism, artists, Ghana, Ebimo, Akasa, because we're studying who said, Odone Woma Ekrono, that's one. Into a Safata said, or do you ever bow on board? Into mainly who fuse and
artists,
yes, the reason why Wahanija entertainment bits, and I think it play a major role when it comes to tourism. Or family fuse specifically may say me the Casano, and I said the okay, who's near then your Toma a Adasa, and also or show more of yes, African or the chair in a different light. And see, main reason why we're standing for entertainment, and I think that's way more stronger, you know, even compared to anything when it comes to tourism. You bet share the course of Ghana and TF say about
so see I do one sa MCNT by and say you do one sa Shenkrata says we are tourism ambassador. Just say we are board tourism who they will chairman sign. Yenya information correct.
year nhyehyɛ a yɛde 2 year ɛbɛn me de sɛ ɛbɛbɛ mu saa but
munya NC
but say baby I can do there
baby I can do na just say no go every say before so we do akwa na just kakra
me no ana enye sɛ de beto so keke sɛ ambassador na de
so je ho kakra
da benye sika sɛ ɛyɛ sɛ de wo pesa wotumi yɛ boa man no
right
si ebetumi aboa ma waye sɛ yɛbɛboa ma waye de I think say it makes sense but sɛ de beto so na wotumi nyɛ bibia de and me hu but minister ni obi a na so da ho a wo ka bibia on ka da bi da
no ye musa said dear na opes tourism jumadi ani akan say ninya betimi dia ko wiase aboho de wura ma ye nyina ya tene say
ye wanyama bebre ba na ya dwen hyedan koso na me before in general kan but me kind of for Ghana me say hu kro bia o pesa wo ko ho bia na omo wade ba ko pe omo dwom hu di okofia na wat hyeda atena se ahwe kro nko a o pesa wo ko no ana say obisa 80% me ka wo ani de otie no nti wa ye o se kro bia pesa wo ko ho no ade konti pesa wo ko no because omo dwom hu di ana omo mfo me ni nhwa wo what I say to me ema sa ade ne ba na sa ade so start from so be awareness no ye na eja ye wa no abetumi akasa your package na betumi ayema ada say hu ye betumi document nyama mankofo ahwe ama wo hu bebia wote ansa waje atum say meni age say beko bebi kwa na meka me krom kasa na memfere say me hye me krom atare memfere ni nyina no education a ye betumi ye de ye ho age miti no me fa ne say sa nyama bebre no de kakra bi e kan ho but say nyama ni na betumi enya tourism for no mabo a me hu ne say kakra no kofo adwen be sesa wo bibia mu fi ama meni age ho
right and obema speech wo dwumadi ya say
menye sure say speech am say ye panel bi ye be discuss it 1 or 2 bi
okay
yes
and ye ne wo be twetwen komo say wo wie de wo ya
da say bebre
ya twetwen komo mene Sarkodie Michael Owusuado Sarkodie na twetwen komo happy 98.9 FM meeting is still remain the commander in chief of the afternoon airwaves. We are taking it live from Kempinski Hotel. This is World Tourism Forum, and Kwame Afrifa-Mensah is taking a special edition from Kempinski Hotel. With me, you say what? Very soon we're going to interview the CEO of Ghana Investment Promotion Council. Is that correct? Ghana Investment Promotion Center, GEPIC. We're going to interview the CEO of Ghana Investment, Yofi Grant. Just give me some few minutes. Happy 98.9 FM and Commander-in-Chief of the Afternoon Airwaves. Sir, good afternoon. You're welcome to Happy 98.9 FM and ETV. We saw you on stage. What is this whole World Tourism Forum about, please?
It's to highlight the potential of tourism being a major economic driver in all over the world. This is the first time that it's been held in Africa. It's held in Ghana. That tells you the importance of Ghana as a potential tourism destination economy.
First time, how were you able to, how did you manage to get the attention of everybody to come to Ghana for the first time in Africa?
Well, it's been work in progress. Of course, we were in Istanbul earlier this year at the World Tourism Forum. And at that fair, the minister was there, and we highlighted, we gave a good sales pitch on Ghana. And so it actually elevated the interest. Ghana looks like a country going places and things happening. So they said, okay, how about talking to the Ghanaian authority to see if we can host the forum here for the first time in Africa. And it happened.
Right, nice one. But somebody will ask, to the layman, what are the importance of this forum to Ghana and Africa as a whole?
Well, first of all, it will put you on an international platform and also expose you to the tourism investing world, that, there's a place where a country that's looking to search for it in tourism, and they're doing all the right things to make sure that happen. So what we're doing here is going to go on the world press in the first place. It's not going to be here. But the World Tourism Forum itself, as an organization, carries it and says, okay, there is Ghana. Ghana is positioning itself to be a great tourism opportunity. So that is where tourists should be looking at. That's where investment money in tourism should be looking at.
Right. Obi Beka said, Mr. Yofi Grant, there be a no ashini suit to come address and I say, because I make us say one teacher, meaning say what teacher, and he just but managing that bibi kakra bi apeso ka kire adasa omo said be omo so be tourism no omo so 80 onti ka bibi kakra kire father
Ghana places be or ha, you know, you have to go and see beautiful places. Now, tourism, no interest, who was spending even just walk. There's walking tourism. Wouldn't crowd places of interest. Charlie, what is saying? I mean, it was nothing. Just walking through. People were happy. That's tourism. That's walking tourism. Walking across the beach. That's also tourism. Walking to other places that have forest reserves. That's tourism. Tourism, it's just enjoying the things that God has given us. Enjoying the things that we've put up that will attract you. And giving people somewhere to relax, somewhere to have fun, and somewhere to just let their head down. And, you know, it's all part of life. You've got to work, but work hard, and sometimes also do a little play that will give you a comfortable life. A good life is when you have made your money or you've worked hard and you want to enjoy a bit of it in the assets that are around you.
All right, we know you are going for a break and you'll be back in some few minutes, so we are not going to waste your time. After the program, we are going to talk to you again. Absolutely. Thank you very much for your time. You're Grant on the CEO of Ghana Investment Promotion Center and Nutrition Komono. Media necessary still remain the Commander-in-Chief of the Afternoon Airwaves, Kwame Free Farmers. Jumedi Muti, Epahwana Bay, the special edition from Kempinski. Epahwana Bay, special edition from Kempinski. Media Commander-in-Chief. I have with me a senior man here. Let me just talk to him. You're welcome, Mr. Peter Indoro, news anchor at SABC. Welcome to Happy 98.9 FM.
No, it's great to be here in Accra, in Ghana, and thank you for spending a couple of minutes with me.
Is that your first time being in this country?
No. I've been a few times, but the last time was 2008. So it's been a long time.
Like almost 10 years.
10 years.
Right. So when we talk about World Tourism Forum, what comes to mind to the layman? What does it mean, please?
Look, I think tourism, most people will think is when visitors come to our countries and spend money here on kinte, on staying in hotels and drinking in our restaurants. But tourism is everything about movement. So if you are in Upper Volta and you come to Accra, you're a tourist. Accra is not your home. Your home is in Upper Volta. If you come and spend money here. So what we should be doing actually is promoting local tourism much, much more than we do foreign tourism. Because how many people are in Ghana? If every Ghanaian visited another city and spent money there, the Ghanaian economy would grow phenomenally, and we wouldn't have to rely on people coming from faraway countries. Yes, that's good, that is important, but for me, tourism starts at home. And if we did local much, much more, I think we'd fundamentally change the tourism spectrum.
You come from South Africa. South Africa is known to be one of the world's greatest tourism destination. What is it you people did right, and what is it Ghana is not doing right at the moment to attract that kind of attention that South Africa has now?
I think that we are fortunate in that we have a lot of what's the word? So if you arrive in South Africa, you can experience everything. We've got beaches, we've got wildlife, we've got the most developed kind of urban settings. But if you want to enjoy the rural setting as well, it's there. So endowed with a lot of natural resources, but that we market it. We market it and market it and market it. It's a struggle because we have issues like any other country that we have to overcome. But I think that you have to develop the infrastructure. When I arrive in a country, I want to stay in a nice hotel. I don't want to take 3 hours to get to Cape Coast. It's something I want to see, but it should be easy to get there. So you need to build the infrastructure to make those resorts and those holiday destinations easy to get to. If you go to the UK, you know how simple the transport system is, how efficient it is. That's what we need to do in Africa. We need to make sure that mobility and the ability to go to these destinations is easy. Otherwise, I'll come and I'll say, okay, Cape Coast is a 3-hour drive. I'll just stay in Accra.
You seems to know a lot about Ghana and all that.
Yes.
Well, have you attracted some beautiful lady in Ghana?
I think you have very beautiful women in this country, and I'm always very pleased when I travel to Accra and visit your country.
I can understand it. Right, so we can do exchange. Right, so at the moment, you are the MC for the program.
Yes, yeah.
And what is left for us to communicate before we leave here and all that?
All right, so there's going to be a couple of sessions this afternoon. One of them is going to be on hotel management, the differences in the region. So do you manage a hotel and destinations in Accra in the same way that you do it in Lagos? Or is there a local difference? Sometimes these hotel groups arrive and they've got this blueprint of how to run a hotel. On one level it works, but on another you must have a localization to make sure that it's suitable for the environment that you're in. The other discussion that we're going to be having is e-tourism. So most people will know that we're now in what we call the fourth industrial revolution, big data, people have got mobile penetration, broadband, and that's affected the way that we do tourism. We book online now much more than we used to pick up the phone or go to a travel agent. So we're going to be discussing e-tourism. How can Africa harness e-tourism to get this tourism story off the ground? Because we're living in a digital world now, and if we don't embrace it and harness it and make it work for us, we're going to get left behind.
Right. Before you go, sir, I think most people will say that this is like the same African stuff, all talk, no action, kind of. How do you see this forum impacting on the tourism sector of Africa in terms of how viable and visible they will be in the implementations of whatever we are going to discuss here?
All right. So I think sometimes people come to a conference and they expect somebody to give them a template to say, do this, do this, do that. For me, I think the value of conferences is to arrive, meet other people, connect, listen, and then what it does is it gives you something to work with when you go back where you are. So you go back to where you were and you're starting a bed and breakfast, and at a conference you heard about this new e-tourism application that you can use. Take that and use it where you are, but don't wait for something to fall from the sky. Don't wait for government to give you something. Use these opportunities to learn and then go back and do it. No one is coming to save you. You have to save yourself, and that's the value of these conferences. I think if we think that a conference is like meeting Moses on a mountain, you're not going to progress.
Right.
You have to work. All that this can do is open doors, give you contacts and information.
All right. Thank you very much, sir, for your time.
Okay.
We are not going to waste much time, but we're going to talk again
at the end
after the program.
Medasi, and thank you, Ghana.
Akwaba.
Chale.
Right, we just spoke to Mr. Peter Indoro. He is the presenter at SABC. My name still remains the Commander-in-Chief of the afternoon with Kwame Afrifa Mensah. Special edition of Pahwada Bay right from Kempinski Hotel. I'm going for a short commercial break. When I come back, we're going to talk more. Charlie, in Chimo Fidi in Free Wati.
Was booking systems for airlines or travel agents. However, since the advent of big data and this digital revolution that we're in, e-tourism has taken on a completely new face. And so the question then must become, how have consumers changed as a result of this new digital era that we're in? And how do you respond as entities that provide these travel experiences? So we're going to explore that on the one hand, and on the other, you still have to market these hotels and these properties that you stay in, And how do you manage them across many territories? You know, a Ghanaian is not a Nigerian. A Beninese is not a Nigerian. So how do you manage across territories in particular? Is it the same? Is there a template that you can apply? You know, you have these fast food outlets and they will say, this is how you do a McDonald's. It doesn't care where you are in the world. This is your experience. Is it the same with hotels, I wonder? Well, we're going to explore this, and we have a fascinating panel of experts that are going to give us their opening thoughts. The first three are the experts in e-tourism, and the next two are in the management game, and are going to share their thoughts with us about regional differences in hotel management and marketing, because I think the marketing portion perhaps is critically important, because without interesting people or motivating them to come to our properties and venues, then we don't have a business. Okay, right, gentlemen, thank you very, very much indeed for joining us. And what I'm going to ask you to do, and I know it may be difficult because you all had budgeted so much time, conversation, I'm going to ask you to share your thoughts with us about the subject matter that's been presented to you. We had a different process earlier, but now it's slightly different. Just your thoughts that you would share. Imagine that these are your children and you have 5 minutes left with them and you'll never see them again. What is your best advice to them right now? So let's start with the story of e-tourism. We're in the world of big data. Everybody's on their mobile phone. Broadband penetration, we've got fiber optics. You can't see anybody that doesn't walk around like this anymore. You know, it's almost they use their phones as GPS, so they're attached. How has that changed the game, and what does that mean for your businesses, and how does Ghana become this amazing tourist destination in an e-tourist environment? You have 2 minutes starting now. Willem IJsbroeker, Senior Product Owner, Booking.com.
Okay, 2 minutes to cover all of that. Where do I see, how has mobile affected tourism for a start? Well, Booking.com, we're the biggest online travel agency in the world. We have almost 1.5 million properties available on our site, and we do almost 1.5 million bookings per day. So we do have a lot of data, and we have indeed seen on our side, and obviously you can see this walking around, that most people are using their phone all the time. Over 40% of our bookings now are on mobile. And so I guess in terms of my initial thought then in 2 minutes would be, don't ignore the data that's coming to you. Make sure you have a diversified marketing spread or spend on what you're doing, and make sure you're experimenting across both as well. Just because you have, it's more easy to experiment on desktop or web, even mobile web. Make sure you're still experimenting and making database decisions across both apps, iOS and Android as well. And in terms of potentially where I see this going in the future, obviously, mobile has completely revolutionized the game for us and other online players. And I think machine learning and artificial intelligence will play a big role in terms of what we can serve to our users, regardless of what platform they're on. So making things more convenient, faster, and better.
All right, so we'll come back to unpack it, because what I don't want is any conversation that doesn't help people here to say, what am I going to do from tomorrow? So we can look at these big pictures and say it's fantastic, but this is your child. In 5 minutes time, you'll never see this Ghanaian child of yours again. And so we need practical distillation of these thoughts and how we can say, okay, from tomorrow, this is how we're going to do it e-tourism-wise. So thanks very much, William IJsbroeker, Senior Product Owner, Booking.com. Next is the VP Travel and Tourism at Adara, Darren Dunn. Welcome, thank you for joining us. Darren, perhaps just give us an idea what Adara does, what you do, and then what do you tell your Ghana child? Is this microphone on? Yeah, speak, please. Otherwise, pass the mic, the handheld until you fix it. There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I'll give you a little background on what Adara does, because I don't think you are probably that familiar with it in this part of the world. By the way, this is my first trip to West Africa. Thank you. And the trip has been amazing so far, and the most amazing thing has actually been the people and how welcoming they've been and show me around town. It's my brand new friend Tyrone back there. But what Adara, the premise of Adara, I've worked in the destination world for 15 years now, and working with destination marketers at all different levels, and ultimately, when we would run any kind of digital marketing with them or whatever type of marketing they were doing, ultimately the best they could do is run a marketing campaign and then look at entry cards. And if entry cards are up, they'd say, well, we did a pretty darn good job with our marketing. Or they do surveys. And if the surveys, and oddly enough, when destinations do surveys, it always seems to come out looking pretty good for them. But ultimately, that was the only way that they could measure themselves. And when I came across Adara, I asked, my CEO had this vision, and his vision was to take all these thousands of fragmented ways that people interact with either travel content or the booking process, and to take all those millions and millions of pieces of data, and we see nearly 700 million travelers cross our platform each month, but to look at all these and make sense out of it. Data, in and of itself, has no value. It has no value. Data only becomes valuable when it's actionable. And ultimately, that's what we're trying to create for the destination world, is to give them a real-time look at how many people are interacting with their digital content, even their television commercials. We can actually see when people are interacting with those, and then find out, did they actually come to your destination? How long did they come for? How much did they pay per night? What type of hotel are they interested in? And how do they travel the rest of the year? So you're actually able to look in real time, and destinations can begin managing their business much like any other e-commerce customer out there, not by having an e-com engine on their site, but being tied in by partnering with the private sector, the tour operators, the hoteliers, and being able to look at all that data anonymously and get feedback in real time to make sure they are making the best decisions to attract visitors to their destination, whether it's high-yield visitors, 2-star visitors, 3-star visitors, whatever it may be. I think what I can see in Ghana is that they want all visitors to come and enjoy the amazing culture here. So that's what we've tried to create, is real-time feedback, so that you're not looking at data 10 months ago to make decisions, but you're looking at data from the past week, and hopefully can make better decisions next week, and create complete transparency for the government, so that they know where that data came from, and they can actually prove their economic relevance. That was longer than 5 minutes, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't actually. Very good. And in fact, I'm going to cheat a little bit, and I should have harassed Willem earlier as well. But isn't there a danger of analysis paralysis when you've got too much information now? And yeah, it's all great, but then I spend all my time busy trying to analyze stuff instead of actually doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Here's what's interesting, especially with emerging tourism economies, is when I go into some place like Singapore or Dubai, they have spent the past 10 years building, huge infrastructure. And it actually gets very difficult to measure that, because now it is so fragmented, and they built that without the thought of how do we measure this to make sure that the infrastructure we're building in the future is going to be sustainable, and how do we make sure we're paying for these investments? And so with emerging economies, it may seem very complicated and so forth, but actually this is the time when you're just starting, before you're building 72 hotels out on the coast, have a strategy about how you're going to measure those and how you're going to get the buy-in from that private community to say these 72 hotels, and you're not all of a sudden needing to go out and get that permission, but you have that permission, you have that cooperation before they even break ground. And that's what's going to propel this country ahead and be able to prove economic numbers, just like you can prove, how much gold is taken out of the ground or how much cocoa is harvested and sold. Tourism needs to be quantified with hard data and to wipe out all the clutter. And that data is going to come through a partnership with the private sector.
So we're measuring behavior in bits and notes and runs. All right, Jerome, you're the CEO of Wayne.com, Jerome too, so very warm welcome to you. Thank you so much for joining us. So tell us a little bit about Wayne.com, because you couldn't have done this business, let's say 15 years ago, really. I mean, that world didn't exist. And for those from the outside looking in, they might say that Wayne.com is a mix between Facebook and TripAdvisor, but it's so much more than that, isn't it?
So thanks for the description. My name is Jerome. I'm French for all my sins, and I actually grew up in West Africa, in Ivory Coast. So I haven't been in West Africa for many, many, many years. And I just had this amazing food. I think you call it plantains. There's banana fried. Amazing. And first lesson I learned this lunch is don't ask a local African if the food is spicy, because they're going to look at you saying, no, it's not spicy. And of course it was really spicy. But I'm getting out of scope. So very quickly, what Wayne is a travel social network. We have 25 million users, and it's a company I created nearly 15 years ago when I graduated from university in London. In short, what we do is we help users discover destinations. So if you think of travel as a funnel, we focus on the top of the funnel. So essentially targeting people that do not really know where they want to go yet. If you think of the typical travel process, you go to booking.com or a TripAdvisor, 9 times out of 10, at least from my experience, when you've already made a decision as to where you're going to. Okay, I'm going to Ghana. Which hotel should I book? Let's check the reviews. Let's book it either on Expedia, TripAdvisor, Last Minute, or booking.com. But there are many users out there that do not know where they want to go. They've got a choice of activities and interests, and they're going to think of destinations. So what we essentially do is we provide a platform, which is a discovery platform, that allow users to get in touch with other members that have been to that destination or live in the destination and ask a question. So it's a very social engagement-driven platform. We generate 2,500 users, new accounts every day. About 25,000 photos get loaded on a daily basis. So this is quite important for the engagement. And we generate about 500,000 opinions every month, which is the equivalent of 10 travel reviews every minute. So the level of engagement is key. 90% of the work that we do is with the DMO. It was talked about a lot this morning. And we allow them to essentially engage with our users before they even know where they're going to go. So the aspirational stage is key. So you talk about e-tourism and how this is shaping the world digitally. For us, the key is relevancy. Instead of applying a one-size-fits-all marketing approach, Tourism Board and other companies should really understand why they are on the social media environment in the first place, and most importantly, how they're going to be measuring the success of any campaign that they do. We talk about return on investment, and you'll be surprised how many Tourism Board right now still don't quite understand digital generally, and when they do any activity digitally, they don't really have a metrics on how they're going to measure success. A part of the acquisition of Wayne by lastminute.com last year now allow us to integrate social media with the booking of flights and hotels, so we can tell you not only how many people have been to Ghana following a destination campaign that you've done, but how much has been spent on hotels and bookings and flights and dynamic packages. So the level of return on investment conversation is a lot easier. So in a nutshell, that's what we do. There is obviously a lot more that we can talk about, but I think I will talk a little bit more in it.
The next two people are going to talk about marketing, properties in particular, but I'm curious now to ask you, when a person goes on social media, they're having a social experience, and sometimes it feels like an intrusion when you're being marketed to in a social platform. How do you manage making sure that when I'm thinking about going to Ghana, Cape Coast comes up somehow, but it doesn't come up like, this is a hard sell, because then I get put off.
So this is a very good point. I mean, you don't want to come across like a hard-selling approach and too much in your face. It has to be, again, relevant. So the way we do that is selling the aspiration is to always come up with what we call the carrot, which essentially is something that's going to entice the users to wanting to engage with the brand. So instead of selling a destination, let's say Mauritius, Seychelles, or Ghana, what we do is we do a lot of work with brand ambassadors, and we come up with competition. It could be trip of a lifetime. If you want to go to Ghana, click here to find out more. So instead of selling the destination, we sell the experience. We sell the things that you could do at the destination. And through the eyes of the winner who is going to end up going to Ghana, we've done a numerous amount of competition like the Face of South Africa a couple of years ago. I'm sure you remember The Best Job in the World by Queensland Tourism. I know that resonates with some of you. An amazing PR story. And a lot of tourism boards are doing that right now. They sell the dream through the eyes of brand ambassadors, so you can relate to the experience, so the sale is a lot more easier.
Right, okay, interesting. Right, so let's cross to the other side of this. So you give us a view of what's out there, what's available, and those people that are managing those properties in particular of what's available are my last two panelists. And so first, a very warm welcome to the Chief Operations Officer, Middle East and Africa for the Kempinski Hotels, the venue for today's amazing conference. Thank you very, very much indeed. And welcome Henk Meeknecht. Right, so we found all these sexy tools of how to get people engaged with your potential properties. And I'm just wondering, you have to do this job day in and day out of managing these experiences, and you've got staff that help you do that. But for you, for example, you have 76 luxury hotels across the world. You're not running a McDonald's where a burger gets made in the same way and it must taste the same way. How do you manage a hotel group across a region? Are there nuances that you have to take into consideration? What are some of the challenges that you have? And I would imagine that even within a region, Lagos is not Accra, and yet you're close by.
Well, first of all, I would like to say thank you very much for hosting this event at the Kempinski Hotel here in Accra. And as a representative of Kempinski International, we are extremely proud to have a hotel here in the capital city of Ghana. Thank you very much for that. Kempinski is a operator of luxury hotels. We have 76 hotels around the world in 31 countries. We're one of the oldest hotel companies in the world, founded by the Kempinski family in 1897 in Berlin. And it is true that managing a global portfolio gives challenges for the way you operate in different areas, in different regions. Guest expectation is different, but also the way we have to train some of our employees is a different approach than compared to Europe, China, and for instance West Africa. The methodology we use for that is a well-known concept in Europe based on the Hofstede philosophy, where we use 4 parameters to see and compare certain regions and then apply our training methods or our management modules on that one. And these 4 differences are basically based on what we call power distance. The difference between the leadership and the employee is that a high power distance or a small power difference. If you take, for instance, a property in Denmark, Denmark, there's a very informal relationship between the leadership in a hotel and the employees. While in certain destinations like India, the power distance is much larger. So you need to adapt also your management culture, your training culture, and the way you operate these hotels. Another parameter we use is the confidence level. Does employees who are entering the industry are well trained? Do they have academic background training or polytechnical training? And what's their confidence level when they work into a hotel and approach our guests? In some regions we have very high confidence levels where our employees are very independent making decisions, are very empowered to make decisions, while in other regions of the world we need to coach them, we need to train them, and we need to limit maybe the level of empowerment we give them in making specific decisions. This is a big challenge because we need to make sure that we deliver consistent luxury service across all our hotels in 76 properties in 31 countries, and this is a fundamental challenge. We measure this by a tool we call Review Pro. Review Pro is a technology software program which basically collects social media feedback 24 hours a day in all our hotels, Twitter, TripAdvisor, Booking.com, but also private Facebook messages. And we very quickly detect if the satisfaction level of the customers interacting with their employees is at a certain level. Is it going up or down?
All right, fantastic. Thank you very much indeed. And I will get back to you. So here we have this global group of companies, and then now we have someone who has to try and use that local expertise and this local knowledge and compete against these international brands in some way. And I wonder, Emmanuel, let's say a very warm welcome to Emmanuel Adu-Sarkodie, who's the Group CEO of CDH Group of Companies. Welcome. So we've been talking about feel global, think local. How do you experience that in managing properties that are very local?
Thank you for this event. Last night was wonderful. I was telling the organizers that perhaps we shouldn't wait for the World Tourism to do it. We should do this every now and then, and we're prepared to pay and show up for that. A round of applause for them. Accra City Hotels straddles both types of management. We have had, we used to be with Accor for over 25 years, and then now we've been on our own. And so we really represent the concept of thinking global and acting locally. Now, both have their advantages and disadvantages. At the end of the day, the hotel business is a business to start with, and so you would like to make some money. So when you are local, it means you have to subject yourself to a lot of international scrutiny. That's why, for example, Accra City is the only ISO certified hotel in the whole of West Africa, because you have to have an international standard tied to you. Now, in terms of local, because you self-manage, independent manage, you can adapt to the systems much faster than when you have the international brands with you. So yes, it has its good sides. The other side is that when you are with an international brand, the marketing is a lot easier because the booking engines are a lot more. But when you are local, then you have to rely on the normal booking engines to help you with your bookings. The scorecard is fair. I think we do not regret having it at all. But I must say something, that when you sit where we are sitting, it's like when you go on a game reserve. You always get the last end of the line when it's passing. We can hardly hear what anybody's saying out here. I think we all agree with me, don't you? I can hear at all what is going on. Thank you very much.
All right, just before, no, hang on, keep the microphone, because you mentioned the word brands, which is a really powerful thing, and I just wonder, they've got 76 around the world. How do you compete brand name-wise when you have a local name and people know you locally? But I'm sitting in London and I want to go to Ghana. I see Accor, and then I see Accra City Hotels. Perceptions might be, let me trust a brand that I've heard before. How do you build your brand so that it becomes something you trust?
First of all, our experience with our family, our visitors, is that people don't say, I am going to visit Accra City Hotel. They say, we are going to Ghana. They don't say, I'm going to a particular hotel in Sun City. They say they're going to South Africa or to Sun City. So we have that advantage. And of course, these days, with what the people talked about, there are various booking techniques and tools to put yourself ahead. Our name is a very good name, Accra City. The moment you type in Ghana Accra, we will come first. And of course, we have and we have a lot of history, and the internet is very good. You can look at your reviews on TripAdvisor and all those things and see exactly what this hotel does. And as I said, we have not regretted at all. The tools are getting better and better, and so yes, we may not have a big brand like the Kempinski who is here, but we still get a very good share of our market. And indeed, we found people who want that personal motherly feel of knowing that you have a personalized treatment as against a one-fit-all global kind of thing that the mass people would actually give you.
All right. I'm going to go to the floor just now, but I did want to ask you, Willem. So, fiber optics have come, the internet is faster, people are on their mobile, and has that changed the traveler? Has that changed the consumer to such a degree that we're sitting here thinking, how do we manage our businesses? How do we market our products? Must we change because the consumer himself has changed and perhaps doesn't even realize that they are different travelers now?
I think that's completely true in terms of having to be able to respond to your users. At Booking, we try to make sure that everything we do, we put the customer at the center of it. We don't make a decision that's not putting a customer first, and with that, our partners, and as a result, our business. And I think the way you do that is active monitoring, so making sure you have data not based on 10 months ago, but based on the last week, based on the last day. If you start an experiment, if you make a change to your product, you want to be able to understand exactly what the reaction is from your users. Oftentimes what people say and what they do are completely different, so if you ask your users, your customers what they want, they might say X, but in reality when you put the choice in front of them without a question posed, they'll often choose Y. So to make sure you're actively testing, actively tracking your data, I think is completely huge. Two trends I think that are coming up quite a bit, for example, in this regard, could be a push for experiences, people trying to move off the beaten path. A lot of times people might say they want to go to a particular city, but end up booking something that's outside of the city center. We've seen a huge trend for people to move outside of the city center, despite the fact that some people haven't said that. Likewise, we see a lot of people trying to move towards this experience domain with properties that aren't hotels. We have well over 1.5 million properties on our site right now, and over 70% of those or so are not hotels. That could be camping, that could be a boat, that could be an igloo. A little homage to Canada there, but that's what we see people doing. So I think we wouldn't be able to make fast and reactive choices if we had not been tracking.
All right. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to shift things up a little bit. I want to go to the audience, and in between perhaps I'll just have some follow-up questions, but I want you to be part of this. So here we have a scenario, e-tourism. You've heard the word, and some of you have been involved in it, perhaps not realizing just how involved you are in the e-tourism process, but the moment you press a button on your computer, you're in it. So what questions do you have for my panelists here? And then there are two experts here who know how to manage properties and who know how to market those properties as well. So let's pick their brains a little bit and just see what we can come out with. Are there any questions? Please raise your hand
And we'll pick it up from there. Okay, yeah, give them a microphone. The person is... It sounds like you guys were pretty comprehensive and well, they had no idea what you're talking about.
Good afternoon. My name is Lucky Honor George. I'm the publisher of African Travel Times magazine. We have listened to you carefully. We talked about the e-tourism and the likes. How does that help our region that is far behind in African rating in terms of traffic arrival? Tourism is all about figures, volumes. We don't have that in West Africa, unlike in Kenya or Southern Africa generally or North Africa. How do we use your platforms to attract the big volumes? I think I want you to relate it to the big tour companies, TUI, Thomas, and the rest of them. We only have such traffic to the Gambia, but not the hard product we have here, perhaps culture and this fragmented tourism product we have in other parts of Africa. Thank you.
Okay, so that's a very powerful question. Let's take a couple more, and then
Peter, just a quick word.
Okay.
We're having a huge.
All right, no, don't worry. I've picked up on the questions, so I will reverb them to you just now. Don't worry. Have no fear, my brother. Okay, so is there anybody else who's got a question? All right, give them a microphone.
My name is Edemativo.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, still here at Kempinski Hotel. Medina is remain the commander-in-chief of the afternoon waves, Kwame Efrifamesa. Your Kempinski Hotel. This is the special edition of Epahuada Bay, and you can't tourism. Say nkrofo etu kwan behwe wani so ade enya baabi ada enya baabi akohwe Kintampo waterfalls Boti waterfall ho chese Cape Coast Kakum National Park na na nyina castles and forts ni nyina aye dey tourism baabi wo free Volta region kwa na wo ba Accra na wo behwe wani so ade tourism eno na yeshia ye bobo hu di hu nkomo ahwe kwan ye befa so nya promote tourism na no me catch us nipa be pia asa akodi ofia dada kedi ofia na na samwa ofia ha etitre ne nimpon bebre ofia enche bia me ni bi abetwetwe nkomo but quickly ya ni bi betwetwe nkomo na
classical hospitality and
right etitara kedi for Happy 98.9 FM. We are live from Kempinski Hotel. We a special edition Epahuada Bay. Now Kempinski Umahada any Eminia Pesika Nebraha Kempinski no be druha and Kania Kura Echegu and Yan Kania Ketwa. What Kempinski ati ahano na odi fufu ba kwa ye over chama mamusi wasem dada me twonko ba mamusi ya bedu Kempinski ni abusa odi fufu ba kwa hane boy say type ben ya ne bo ni free say no kosa this our copper pions this your kosoro by ya tete say have fufu ba kwa $100 yampa enye no kra ne mo ya pesika ne bra Kempinski Happy 99 FM pesika a man who would do as a stick one. Fantastic. This is Kwame Efrifamesa. I remain the commander-in-chief of the afternoon airwaves. May Wadada KD Ewofia Hayan and Entry Commonia Musa and say, Wabetan Haya Ribrofo from Anopa Katendada, Katinin Como, what? We are Ribrofo, wish from Anopasa, ye baby tea, saying that KD Brofo Cassia Yakan Egumina, we see Fatias, Dada, Emwaka Happy 98.9 FM. So,
yeah, my dear.
Bibiabo there.
Right. Free anopani ababetena ha and a restoration koso. That World Tourism Forum, what you say any?
Well, so tighten a word.
Tourism Forum.
World Tourism Forum. Metiasia. Let's say we are seeing na Yabesia or Kempeski ne pese. Yeah, forum.
Forum no ni twi
If we say your ball, forum, okay, I drink to a tour. Let me say so. Right. Now, your dear, your tea crew. Now, tourists, your per se, your magana, your fe. Now, a profi. It's me back room, Kenya. No, man, they be at the eye and I come in and come in, my grand and senka. To be in Uncle Monfa a capital in free her. Now, hatch the door.
For capital in free in crime.
Okay, TV. Why? You was some
administrative capital.
3 2 1 2 1 2.
Ote. Oh, Dumo, we know one more. I sound do monitors, no.
1 2 3 2 1 2 1 2 1 2.
Then I make a day. Hey, through the TV.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2.
Okay. Okay, hold on. What is our campaign? Hello? What is our campaign?
Right, so just like I said, we are still at Kempis live. We a special edition of Epahwanda Ben. Ye mami ebano nyum tuomu dia woni size. Ebano ye nyum tuomu, especially mu amoko asori no enye de mko asori nko a gospel music. Christo somu nyum tuo odi mu akotini ye papa. Ono so abeke yensa ha. Ye frɛ no mami dina asamwa. Mami akwaba.
Ye nua papa.
Ene wo ho efe pa o.
Nyamia.
Some the pass also.
Nyamia
said wasi aboni duku afa chim no chese me se akuma mamazin bi chen no chen se ne de ne tre ma me de no efe akama said wasi abono na ntoma nso ink ewom papa ma me ne oba ha na World Tourism Forum ase ne sen
oh already adom ya ba se ye ba be kire yen kwan ya be fa so a ambassadors na wo mayi ye no yenso be fa so aye adwuma nti numu a na ewe ya e dia bedu de ye dre
right na ene no say na the KDD kan no we say re from anopa be see anwumre e dia mfaso de na susu sesa we say ya ye e de bebre your tourism industry no
oh men so mekasa
na wo be kan de no we say
Ghana kasa me
bekatwi fantastic one
me promote Ghana
no no ma di ho nkita ho se wo beka twi ana se wo na akogina wa wo mfu bia ho bekatwi
o se wo ma betumi o mikro okay enti asese me mo so hu se mani je me kasa ho okay mani je Ghana mani je se me ye Ghana ni enyam ntoma nko a me fira ne be che se me ye Ghana ni eso mo hu me kasa anso se kasa bi ko ye ko ye aye kodidi ye me hunu fufu ho me hu bibia ho nti akakasa no aye be kam wo nso hu se esase ye no mo ka wo mo brofo no a ebe mo kura no o mo value ye papa esase ye nso so ye katwi no mo so ye kire wo mo ase no mo ho kire wo mo no mo so busa se ede na okay mo ken ebi a yɛbɛku wɔn anaasɛ sɛn a sɛdeɛ na me nua bɛrima dada kedi ka no nti ɛnokora turo do sɛ ɛyɛ ne nyinaa wie yɛtumi anom Ghana nsuo adi fufuo mehu sɛ na nnomaa nyinaa wɔnam nom nnomaa nti mmemme ɛsɛ sɛ yɛtumi nso ka twi na wɔn hu sɛ wɔn aba abɛto yɛ ntumi fo wɔn tɔtɔtɔ wɔn de wɔn kasa na ɛbɛhyɛ yɛ sɛ sɛ yɛde yɛdeɛ no hyɛ wɔn sɛ kura wokɔ Facebook ni ade wɔn asate to yɛ nwom nti ɛsɛ sɛ yɛn wɔn hu no sɛ yɛn nso yɛ baae yɛ medi agɔ.
Mami, just we know Yabishia saying ya appointed was tourism ambassador. We are tourism ambassador. A dear Susuyena and AC, we say we see a woody tree never war molagati ya. A dear Susuyena, O Susu say, will bet me and a more will bet me a true at the Abua amateurism, a yan and now so a jina.
They made the Bamagana and yan and now so a jina say. So when the moon ba, may a juman say. Me can't sempa. Nti me nso me na say Ghana for Christ. Nti yebetimi de Benihemo ene ada bonki mu nyina ba Ghana for Christ. Eno na nchen no ye call abruchi mamu a niyema bi wo ho no mo a nso na me de bi kire mo. Se to yi a esi ho no mo. Ebiti ko se kire twa no. Untwa ne free o. Hockey, omo hockey no. Eno no ye what they say Vancouver. Eno no ko esisi ho hye chire twa. Ye che Canadian $10. Canadian dollar. Nti ya so ye betimi aye bi. Ya sante hene no say tutu ni statue no. Ye so betimi aye ukọ se ya. UK wo mo wayi bi a wo mo de kosua. Ena aye ho nyina kosi. Uko jina ho na twap eno no nipa firi amama so behwe nti Ghana ha no na no ye call kibi chebi hene ho no ono so ma yete ase se eye chebi ho no wo mo won fafanta be 400 a wo mo aye wo mo omugu ho yesu betima bo ho dawura ma ya dana di amanipa aba abehwe
yeda Mame ase ahaya Kempiski special edition of Pamuada Ben Yabefa Free Kempiski etitire animpon every benchire echirichiri na ababedru ha aye babedwendwene tourism ye ne dada KD enwe dada meba chotwebe mi ne nkomo dada KD na da ben na Ghana for nhwe anim se wo de nwom beba Montevi.
Well, I'm ambassador there. It looks like I say obi bedwen se be de nwom na to who told you? As we speak now, no dear, my 2 tracks, right? Okay. And your album, Michelle Daddy, she said, a month for dreams say you say high life for a wintino. Most of the time, no crowd in your presenter, no high life.
One corner, one corner.
As a high life, no. Let's assemble for some time now. And the money and I said the modern BTI boss will be on rapport modern beating a man said because for the then we don't talk about high life again because so right now me let's say a tele with the rhythm but me personally I will say this I don't want to tag myself with a Jenna because the beye bia sese me dem ene afemu na eba bonte say ye nyamnyo dance or whatever bia no me visa eba me new album and a new song
say ya appointed tourism again na wo be ye de abo promote tourism
ni nyina wo me chirim
there be wo chirim say wo come Ghana for ate na almost wash as here to one more say
ye doso obi afa ne ho adwene adebo abi ase dem sister Ken obetimi afa aka na adwene but ebi obi so betie odi proposal be ko no bi edika o ze Ghana kure emu ayehye nti se bibi ona me se me ya na meka no ya de se am me concentration wo abom ya me be yi I did be alongside now as ambassador there I have up to 1 year from now no and you go come alongside there so some from music as like I'm saying, it's a new album to me do project the tourism industry in Ghana no. Na enye to say ni amusumi nimi ya amusumi tima twa ho ama aba amemo no. And I make an end the be a demo ade na che to media tudwa.
Oka demo ade ye baba ma me dan na asamo so ne ani aba twen komo. Aha ye happy 98.9 FM na wuti and media necessary still remain the Bombardier Field Marshal Squad leader, the Ranger Buffalo Hwan Royal General Kabaka Bomfa this year agona this year me na me ye Kwame Atudro Frame Supreme Leader me Jeso Kabum Kwame a free farmers and Yanema Medina Asamoah and Dada Kedi Etchenkomo Free Kempiski World Tourism Forum. Yaka World Tourism Forum na akwese kasa tentente emum Kempiski had the effort. Wa wutie mini pesika nebra beda hebi wo ba ha wa timo so wiase asesa ahaya monyo kama mami bibi aboko mekasi bibi aboko why you ready say come speech
ekwan bankwa de amema
na so far mo ni wakasa say obema speech
so obi e man nsa so kire na adwene
nti so ma ode so a
nsa so
fantastic yada se woni ya twetwe nkomo na question de memusa omabusa dodo ana memusa
so wa musa odi atiane
number jo question kro de
oh ha
mama ha me minim de obe candidate Mama Dina Asamoah gospel musician and the twetwe nkomo evangelist Dina Asamoah that I get the last words to Betty for 9 year movie on
so forum na fini has here for the first time in Ghana, in Africa, and I've been in Kempinski. Luckily, home free Germany, almost family, yeah, Kempinski. And the brand has been there since 1988. And then the young boy, Tina make us a Jibu have made a shed.
I am near the Yaguna, Yadi, would the enemy mention will be an on so we are my idea.
And none of nature will say,
which is a union 18 more days.
There be Sana Yafitia,
and the uncle Sunyanasa.
Some may be decay. And the Dimfas
Meno Casada KD manager, a Sherman Nim say, you know, Sadiana Hano,
maybe met made the Marginato. And the Baya Quenya Nani on near a bay in the one Kenya. On the first year, the Nakachi has to say her anymore.
Dada Kokuria,
yes,
Medasi,
Medasi.
It's a one, I make a Sambia.
I had to have a
live from Kempinski, happy 98.9 FM.
Per room. I can tell you that there has been a vast increase in the diversity of what's available, both within one particular property type, like hotels, for example, as well as a push into luxury. So we're seeing a lot more expensive options, a lot cheaper options, and a lot of varying property types within those property or price brackets. So we could have Amsterdam. We could have glamping in another country or in India.
I'm serious. Right, my name is Boss Chuchunko so on Yankasa for now. Just your program no. Over said we see a bonus suit black here to in charge of security. Mr. Edwin Boat on Yeni Paketwa or you super fantastic. Said the meeting Kempinski is the place to be. I come and your hotel fianga nibi. Nemo mobile man say when you do pesca. Ma tumu mokubu what ya say every say obe highlight na etwagu yero no kwa no eno ya asem bi bo achi bidi kwa me frempo wontimi mahada ono ni sika semso just on the car no the virgin any one day. Happy 98.9 FM. Yeah, to Jumadi and so. Many Mr. Insia Asare na ono so yempenim for more Ghana Tourism Authority. Maybe yeah in Chuchunkomo. Papa Yamwa Baba Happy 98.9 FM so.
Yeah.
Bibi aboko de.
Aboko.
And you better than friend up we say. And the asemwa.
Yo. World Tourism Forum. Na ekoso. Na yeshemu akase. Akuku damfo a ekura tourism wo wiase afana nyina na ebi eseni abankran ha no omne ye Ghana hotel for ne policy makers ne tourism practitioners ni ato adwen say unim na usua en say hwe the Ghana experiences ne ye ka no so experience a omanya o other no so mo ka na ebi say question na say na ba ya yesu bi ebesua bi ne yɛde ama yɛde na etumrika
na emfasodeɛ bɛn na yɛwie wei a obi bɛ broni bɛ sɛ direct benefit bɛn na Ghana ɛbɛnya free sɛ apart from sɛ pictures wɔn de bɛtutu social media ne ade deɛ direct benefit sika sɛ mbi bɛ free baabi aba ama yɛbɔtum
ha nyinaa wɔn free krom dodo na wɔn free krom ana wɔn da hotel wɔn tua hotel bill wɔn tua aduane wɔn bɛfo yɛ car wɔn shopping afei so wɔn abɛhu Ghana nti immediately no your potential people are to make some at their 20 power chroma. That is one. Number two, yes, one more experience or more canon. Never my dream, I see it to me the shape here, dear. There's no point in reinventing. Ubi at India, no, I be na no, it's now I now so do to America. Until I know another opportunity for investors. Also, the more chrono a dini treno. The man in Kofunya confidence will chrono. They're born a capital to push the things we want to do. There's no law that says a dollar is a dollar. Say Korea need the sikaba, no baby ha. The property needs you are on to me tunko, and also bidding huni with your tax. Now, boy, we say investment creating forum and go for projects are more when it's the center of the world, Aquabaj hotels, Marine Drive, no. Now other people are more ready access to capital because Ghana has a 35% 40%. We be declare zero. Into Kukurisi can be or benefits. Into Nina Kabum, Nayama, yes, me.
Right. Obi be busa say omoba eat Ghana, drink Ghana, talk Ghana, everything. Ye mo monyo ye dua ne adi. O manya ya tari ase.
Edomko kay omsi Ghana, edomko Elmina. Ene Kakum. Ne signed omko Cape Coast Castle, enra anopa. No me be 35. Na enra nyumesa unya daje fa.
Right, I was there.
Cocktail na ye no. Never who be any Abolika eat Ghana and Ghana food and Kwan.
Ya twitwa ba yira mpesi kama eat Ghana.
And ya cratch ni obi onum tea. Ana obotai. Utumi di body appreciate say also ya cratch pa. Enti
na obi be ka se ye ba ye se ye pese cratch anke ye aduane amomo ne de entire a kire wo mo a ne ye kasa kakra nso ye ntimi amfa amomo ye den na brofo yi na atwa go.
Unfortunately we are saying we are saying 200 but official languages are used internationally no yes sure say we do 10 we Arabic, Spanish, Portuguese and so a colonial legacy there until we are Asia Turkey for say Turkey in Turkey we mean to Turkey until you for so ka for akama near to me akasaka to say translation good or na translation you French near what Turkish I am say kese ke di twi ka ho but if ni pa dodo na ate ha no krani em so bia opoto kakra obeti ase nti anya go apayo de but the garden can survive with at least in this environment
right yeah that's a pass oni yakasa mredi akire no ye beba ne abaje nkire mu de besie bia yeah that's a papa yeah ni Mr. Nsiasa yo no na ye me pacho opposition bi na me money marketing manager of Ghana Tourism Authority and en twehwe nkomo no you go so work Kempiski epa ho da be special edition and ya befa Abraham no ye go so ye ni abrofo ni bi real brofo ne before the kekambum na dwuma no afa na didi eche bia ye besa akofeed na wakote brofo no mo we ne wese ne bi na onso de afa ho I happy 98.9 FM dwumadie no epa ho da ben with the commander in chief of the afternoon airwaves beda obibia say otie me bibia beko right
the information that is speaking on the net is the right information. Because we have a lot of instances where people go on the net, they pick information, and through that they go to destination, and the experience is quite different from what they picked from the net. And so I want to find out how the experience will be, or if the tourist is picking the information, he's picking the right information so that when he gets to the destination, he experiences what he found on the net.
Okay, so authenticity, that's a big one. Anybody else got a question? There's a hand over there. So authenticity of the information that's out there.
Thank you very much, Hutton RFI. I
I think the problem is we are trying to increase our invisible export from tourism, and over half a century we've not made so much from invisible exports. Now, the last government had a World Tourist Conference, which made a lot of impact, and luckily this government has come up with a World Tourism Forum, an African summit. Now, all these are supposed to be under the UNO, or the World Tourism Organization. Now, do we have a ranking situation with the World Tourism Forum and then the World Tourist Conference, all under the UNO, to put Ghana up the map of tourism so we can earn more money? Is there a form of ranking where we can earn more money from these invisible exports? Thank you.
All right, before you sit down, because I don't think everybody understands this term invisible export.
It's a kind of foreign exchange earner in form of tourism.
Okay.
Yeah, we can't really accumulate so much we make monthly or yearly, but there's a percentage which is accounted for and which is mentioned in the export revenue and remittances list. So
your question is there a ranking that we must make sure that we become part of that is going to sell our destinations? Okay. One last question. Who wants that last question? Okay. That's going once, going twice.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, make sure, can you repeat? So the first one was around authenticity.
So the first one was around authenticity of information on the internet, and then is there a ranking out there in the world that we need to become part of so that people will see Ghana is ranked number 7 for the best tourism destinations, and then that's going to empower us because people are going to look at these rankings and say, top 10, oh, Ghana's good at this, top 10 of that, etc., etc. So, we started this end before. I'm going to start with you, my dear brother, Emmanuel. Your closing thoughts, and if there's anything that you picked up in the last question or so, or something that you left out, now's your moment. Oh, you can't hear me? All right. So your final thoughts for today. Final thoughts for today that you want to share with our audience around hotel management and marketing.
Okay, well, I think Ghana is largely unexplored. We have so much potential, and if we put our acts together, we would have a very good industry. But the key point I would like to make is that nobody goes to a place by booking into a hotel. That's not why they're coming. They're coming to see the nation. And so we should put our act together as a nation in order to get tourism going. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Emmanuel Adu Sarkodie. Henk Menknecht, CEO, Middle East Africa, Kempinski Hotels. Thanks once again for your hospitality. Your parting shots for our audience.
Well, as Kempinski, we will do our utmost.
As Kempinski, we will do our utmost to make sure that we will promote this destination around the world in all our hotels, because I think this Ghana deserves to be promoted and to be developed as one of the most stable nations here in West Africa, and is a unique tourism destination. And we will make sure that we will groom the talent here in this hotel, and that talent then grooms more talent to go forward as the industry. Like, it's not only catering to a particular market. I mean, we cater to the luxury segment in the market. You cater to a more middle market segment of the market, and that's fine, because every destination needs a multiple number of brands and a multiple levels of hospitality, as long as we make sure that we have the right talent in place to operate these business units, and that we have a good alignment with the government to make sure we promote the destination.
Thank you very, very much indeed, Henk. Mechanics. Now, Jerome Toos, your final thoughts, and if there's anything that you can answer, go for it.
I'd like to tackle the two questions, if you allow me. And then I'll give you a third point, which is my sort of concluding view on the whole thing. The first thing was around, how do you ensure the authenticity of some of the data, or the comments, or the reviews that can be added on social media. When we started the business in 2002, we had two employees where one was my grandmother, and the second was my cousin. Essentially, they were helping us reviewing the data, the pictures, to make sure they were politically correct, because we didn't have the technology to essentially automate that. The beauty of data and technology allows us to do all of this stuff in a very automated way. The power of the crowd is that all of the comments can be actually regulated by the community. So the beauty of having a very engaged community like Wayne is that we rely on the users themselves to spot any disparities or any comments or piece of content that could be politically incorrect, and they will report it as abusive, and then our support team will automatically flag this and act. So that really allows us to have a very high degree of accuracy in the content that gets posted. That's number one. The second question was around the ranking of destinations. It's an interesting point because we actually introduced a product called Social Opinions. I touched based on it earlier on. We're generating about 500,000 opinions every single month. And what we wanted to do was to provide a ranking for destinations. So essentially, destinations can be best known as best for beach holidays, best for honeymooners, or whatever you want to be known for. And what we allow tourism boards to do is to actually work with us to essentially have that level of ranking, which is presented in front of the users. So when someone has just come back from Ghana, it's almost like a market research exercise, based on your trip. How would you rank Ghana, or how would you rank Accra? So users would say, well, for me, Accra was definitely best for meeting friendly people, or it was great to try local food, or whatever those experiences that you've had. And again, it requires a huge amount of data in order to get to a statistical significance. So we actually have this technology already in place. And finally, what I would say to conclude is that I think being in technology and having been in this world for the last 16 years, I have a high degree of optimism that actually the tourism board industry is finally embracing digital. It's happening more and more, but it's only recent. I would say the last 2 or 3 years, we are seeing DMOs hiring social media experts, where before they used to rely on agencies. To me, this is a change that I'm seeing in the industry, which is very encouraging. And finally, I would say look for disruptive technologies. We are seeing more and more of those. I'm particularly interested by the blockchain and the cryptocurrencies that I think have got a huge amount of disruption potential for the travel industry. So watch this space.
Jerome Toos, thank you very, very much indeed. Darren Dunn.
So with respect to rankings, I don't think as destinations, they all love to have the plaque on the wall that says we're ranked number 2 in the world for whatever. But ultimately, I don't think we can, it's not a winning race. And the reason is rankings today mean nothing necessarily in 3 days, depending on what's going on in the world. I'm from the U.S. We had a lot of rankings going into the last presidential election. You know what? The data didn't work. It was not authentic. And I think if there's anything, my wife works at Facebook, and I asked her, I said, what does a like mean? Because that's, in a way, that's a ranking. How many likes am I getting? Is this really great? I said, what does it mean? Does it mean, do you know if somebody actually visits a destination? She goes, no, we don't know what it means. It means it's okay, it's good. It doesn't mean somebody's going to visit. Don't get caught up in things like rankings or likes. Focus on your truth, on what you're good at. If you're great at food and an amazing cultural experience, focus on that. And that is not only going to set you free in your marketing, but it's ultimately, it's going to bring you more visitors, because you're telling that they are going to find what they expected through the messaging that's being put out there.
Okay. Wow. Fantastic, powerful words. And Willem, Icebreaker, Booking.com, who I used a lot. You saved my life when I was traveling to Paris.
In terms of parting words, and maybe to touch on basically whether a user perceives a particular message as authentic or whether you're trying to push a particular city, region, or country with destination, whether that's up a ranking or in any other sense of trying to push a destination. My parting word would be to say to make sure you're measuring every single thing you do. There's nothing we do at Booking.com that we don't measure and experiment with, and I can tell you from experience that 9 out of every 10 decisions I make personally are completely wrong, and I wouldn't know that unless I measured the outcomes of them. So if you want to be sure that you're actually making something that's a decision that's good for your users and in turn for your business, to make sure you're measuring that through whatever means you're able to, whether that's A/B testing, multivariate, or anything else.
Thank you very, very much indeed, Willem Icebreaker. All right, so that's our panelists. A big hand for them collectively. I think they gave us some very powerful input. Thanks to you, gentlemen. Thank you very, very much indeed. And thank you as the audience as well for participating. There were some great questions that came through. And in the end, look, you know, things are moving. They're shifting. The digital age is here. There's technology that's out there. There are platforms that are available. So you can't keep on doing what you've always done. The consumer has changed and is demanding certain minimum things available to them to measure you, to see you, to interact with you. And so you need to think about how, because the world has changed, the environment has changed, how do you change to take advantage and harness? Because, you know, 5%, you could be doing triple that easily, I have a feeling. You just have to find a way to do it and unlock it. And we got tools, and we got great properties, and let's just market, let's just do it, let's just be amazing, let's just garnify the world. All right, everybody, thank you very, very much indeed. Let's give a big hand to our panelists. And whilst they get off stage, it's actually my great pleasure now to welcome, for the celebrity talks, I know we're all excited about that, the moderator for the celebrity talks. Please put your hands together for Denta Amoateng. So, how come I'm not sitting on this panel? Am I not a celebrity?
Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. Oh, is everybody sleeping after the fufu and benku and everything? This is the best session. Everybody's been waiting for this session. Is everybody here? Yeah, okay, great. If you look under your table, under your chair, you find that there's a gift. Look under your chair. Oh, great, I've got everybody's attention. Amen, love it. Everybody loves freeness, right? My name is Denta, and I'm the founder and CEO of GUBA. GUBA stands for the Ghana UK-based Achievement Awards. We recognize Ghanaians that are doing well in the UK and worldwide. We also have the GUBA Expo, which is about promoting made in Ghana products into the UK market. We do a lot of other things, and for me, I am somebody that eats Ghana, breathes Ghana, sees Ghana, feels Ghana. And so there's no doubt why, thank you, I'm going to be moderating this session. I'd like to invite on stage the celebrity guests who are going to be joining me on this panel. I'd like to invite Fuse ODG, all the way from the UK, Azonto boy. He promoted Azonto. Everybody, I'm sure, knows the Azonto dance. And it was a craze which happened in Ghana, and it was thanks to him for promoting the Azonto dance. Fuse is somebody that is promoting Ghana and Africa. He has a slogan called, "This is the new Africa, Tina." That's what he calls it. And is somebody that actually has brought Ed Sheeran to Ghana to film his music video. Give him a round of applause, please. Then we have Miss V. Miss V is a Ghanaian Nubian princess who is promoting Ghana through her music as well. She was a BET nominee for 2016. We have Obede, Sarkodie. Sarkodie, award-winning Ghanaian musician who has over 4.8 million followers across his social media. He filled Apollo in New York, a concert filled out, all because of Sarkodie. Then we have Ochiami Kwame, a successful promotional icon. Ochiami Kwame has represented international brands such as Coca-Cola, MTN, GT Bank, and African Union. Last but not least is Becca Akosia Echampong. She is a musician who has performed with the likes of Akon and other high-profile musicians. She is celebrating her 10th year in the music industry. Give her a round of applause. Right. Am I ready? Okay, so as we know, celebrities are some people that we can use to promote. A lot of companies use their brand to promote their brand. And so, Ochiami, I want to ask you a question. Influencer marketing is the largest marketing trend globally. What mutual benefit do you think as an influencer you can leverage that through tourism?
Good question. Thank you very much. I believe that over the years, people like Sak and Becca and everybody here who have tried to develop a big following on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, we hold the key to representing Africa like the ones we see on a postcard. So if we do a music video, and the music video says, "You are welcome to the paradise called Ghana," and it has kente, and it has Edinkra symbols, and it has the Ghanaian philosophy. What it does is that immediately it sends the signal, because we're in a very symbiotic world, it sends signals to all the millions of people that follow us and the millions of people that we meet on a daily basis to say that, hey, look, Ghana is not a place with broke children and hungry, and it's not a war-torn place. Africa is not a dark continent. It's beautiful and it's colorful. Take a good look at it. And I believe that this type of influence will change perception. And when perception is changed, reality will change. And more people will come to Ghana and spend money.
Excellent. So, Sarkodie, are you doing the same thing? Are you shooting in Ghana? Are you using Kakum Park? Are you using Molip? Are you using Ghana to promote through your music?
Definitely, I think that applies to all of us, not just Ochiami Kwame. He's a big brother that we all look up to. I thank the minister for choosing us to represent, because I think we speak to the masses. We bridge that gap between us and the other world. If anybody knows about Sarkodie, I'm a very stubborn person when it comes to compromising where I'm from as being a Ghanaian. And as you know, the typical example is I rap and do my music in Twi.
Yes.
And most time when I travel outside, I see my people, Ghanaians outside, a bit shy to even speak Twi because they feel like it's not accepted where they are. I unapologetically will speak Twi wherever I am when I see my Ghanaians, and I try to push it.
And for the videos he's talking about, people actually, it's true, they don't really know. I remember somebody asking me, excuse me to say a very silly question about if we have certain things here in Africa. And I'm like, what are you really watching? Are you just stuck on the pictures that you're showing of Africa? So, as he said, we have following, we have views. We get close to 50 million views on videos. And this is not just Ghana, people all over the world. So exactly what we're doing is what he's saying. We shoot videos, we show Africa in a different light that makes people want to come. So exactly what we're doing is what he said.
Okay, thank you very much. And then I think I'll move to Fuse, because obviously you brought Ed Sheeran here to shoot his first video in Africa, in Ghana. What made you do that?
Well, as you guys know, everything that I do through my music is to promote Ghana, to promote Africa to the world. Because I feel like Africa is probably the most raped continent in the world, and it's also the most innocent continent in the world. Ghana being a very special country, and me being from Ghana, I feel like it's my duty to not just focus on the music, but also focus on doing what's right for Ghana. So for example, some of you guys might have, read The Guardian or heard that I got asked to be part of Band Aid by Sir Bob Geldof.
Yes, I remember.
It was a great pleasure to be picked to be part of this. You had people like One Direction, Ed Sheeran, like all these big artists, and as an artist, it was a simple decision as an artist to want to be part of it because of all these other names and networking. But for the mission and me being a proud Ghanaian, I could not be a part of it because of the way that they portray Africa and the way they portray our countries outside of Africa. So we had to pretty much, people didn't understand why I said no to it. And that's the issue. The fact that people didn't understand and they thought that I was crazy. That's the issue that we have right now. Because I feel like if the love was there for Ghana, if the love was there for Africa, people would have understood why I said no. And because there's lack of love, which is what we need to change in order to have people to fight for us. Because I love Ghana, because I love Africa, I said no. But a lot of other people, I feel like, because they're uneducated and there's no sense of love. And I don't blame them because it's so easy to get lost in the media and the stuff that they put out there. But I feel like right now we need to create our own media. We need to create our own platforms to develop that sense of love. Because with that love, we'll be able to fight for Ghana.
Excellent.
So many things happen in the world. Stuff in Paris, USA, UK, people put the hashtag pray for Paris, they put the Eiffel Tower, pray for USA, pray for UK, pray for the Grenfell Tower, and then something happens in Accra, and you don't see that because they've managed to create that sense of love for France, that it becomes an abomination to not do that hashtag. And that's the level that we need to get Ghana to the point where if someone decides to say anything stupid about our country, or if something happens and you don't say anything about it, it needs to be like a crime. But the only way it can be a crime is if we develop that love for Ghana. So me saying no to the Band Aid to me was simple because of the love that I have for the country and also the long-term perspective. So we had to do an article to explain it. And I said in the article that yes, it's a great initiative to raise money to help the victims of Ebola. But why are we showing dying people on TV? Why are we showing our people dying? If someone is dying, let's show them some respect. Let's not put them on TV, because I know you didn't get permission to put them on TV like that. But somehow it feeds into their agenda, and it makes sense for them to raise money that way. And because of the love that I have for Africa, I had to say no to that. And also not just that, so now that we've managed to show people that, okay, people are dying of Ebola, stay away from Africa, stay away from Ghana, even though Ghana wasn't even a part of it. But stay away from these countries. So now people are they're going to give their £2 or $2 a month because they feel sorry for us. Cool, so now we've raised money, but they will never come here. And that's the issue, because they're gonna go to Vegas, they'll go to Dubai, they'll spend 20,000, but they gave us £2. And that's, to me, that's not fair. Why is Vegas getting 20,000 in a week and Ghana gets £2 a month? You understand? Because I know our culture. I know how rich our culture is, and I know how amazing our country is, but we need to create our own media so people can understand when I say no to these things, so people can understand. Let's develop the love for our country so people can come over here and spend a lot of money rather than see us as a charitable, country. The minister even said it in one of her speeches that we need trade and not aid. Ghana don't need aid. We need people to come and enjoy themselves and invest in the country. And that's what I want to use my music for.
Excellent. So then, Becca, would asking stars and celebrities to use their influence to promote Ghana as a CSR, be exploitative or an act of patriotism?
Thank you very much, Denta, but you made a mistake with my name. My name is Akosia. That we're promoting tourism and we're promoting Ghana. I'd rather be called Akosia than Becca.
Okay.
Because Becca is coined out of Rebecca, and that is not so Ashanti. Thank you very much for that question. Patriotism, I think it is, but I think that is also everybody's duty. There's one thing that I've learned, and what I've learned is that, and I keep saying this, and it might sound cheesy, but really there is no place like home. There isn't. A lot of things do happen. As a singer, let me just go to that as first. As a singer, what are the kind of things I would use to leverage, in promoting tourism across the world, letting people see where I come from. A lot of my, colleagues here have spoken a lot, but one thing I do all the time is that I say to people all the time that I am a Ghanaian artist with an international appeal. I do not want to be seen as an international artist with Ghanaian appeal. And so if you realize that, just like Sarkodie, majority of his songs, I think 90% of his music is in Twi, which is really good. And I know a lot of people will ask you, Sarkodie, what is the meaning of Obidin Pombidin? And you'd have to explain to them, right? And explain to them what it is. And I adopted that as well. And so what I do now is that if you hear my music, I say something like Yankwe. And if you don't understand Yankwe, anybody here, it simply means let's go. And so what I do is that every time I even introduce myself on TV, and the majority of people who have seen me, the first thing that I say is, my name is Becca from Ghana. Because I do, yes, I want to be identified with where I come from. I love my nation. I'm a patriotic citizen, and that question is answered. I will do anything for my country. I will take my country as far as I can take it, and anything that is supposed to be for Ghana, I will be for Ghana. I remember that when Dubai was becoming Dubai, what it did was this, that the people in Dubai called their neighbors, they called Iran and Iraq, and said, hey, this is a desert. Let's all come together and make this an amazing place. And they said, go to Dubai and die. I don't know if anybody heard that. That was a simple quote, go to Dubai and die. It means this was your final destination. If you want to die, you go to Dubai and you die. And it was just simply, just letting people know that Dubai is a last resort. And I believe that Ghana has so much rich resources. There's so much that we can do, there's so much that we can attain. And yes, I like that clap. And patriotic citizen of Ghana, definitely, I do believe that 100%, as I'm born here and bred here, I am going to, use whatever I have to make sure that the name of Ghana goes so far. And as musicians, we can do it in so many ways. The culture, how we dress, the kind of language we use in our music, the kind of locations we shoot our videos. I know one person sitting right next to me on my left side, and he doesn't go without his African print. And I'm sometimes so jealous because I see him and I'm like, whoa, this is amazing. And I urge you all that being a patriotic citizen of Ghana, for me, let's just go out there and fly Ghana high. And trust me, when that happens, when people see what you're doing and they see you're loving what your nation and what it's made of, it automatically attracts them to come to your nation because they do want to see. We go to Paris, and I was there 2 weeks ago, and all I wanted to see was the Eiffel Tower. And I got there, and it's an amazing sight to see. And there's so many amazing locations here in Ghana that I believe that we can make better, we can improve to attract people to come. So yes, Patriotic Citizen of Ghana, that is Becca. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Ms. V, to date, how have you used your influence so far to promote Ghana?
Okay, thank you so much for the question. I just want to say one thing before I talk about that. What it means to me to be a Ghanaian and what it means for me when they say tourism here in Ghana is for us to be able to showcase our rich culture, right? Be it our food or our clothing or the beautiful women or the beautiful men or our sceneries or our history or just anything we have here that, represents Ghana, what we praise, what we live for, what we worship, what we stand for as a people. And we are all born with one talent or another, right? And I am so glad, I'm grateful to God that I have been born with this talent, which is singing. So I am a musician here in Ghana. And the most beautiful thing about what I do is that it breaks barriers, it breaks cultural barriers, it breaks international barriers. There is nowhere that you need to sing and translate your music. Music is understood from that baby you see on the internet dancing. He knows that it's something he needs to dance to, right? So he's moving to it. Or to the oldest person in the world. This is what music does. Music is such a heavy tool. It crosses any kind of border. So what I do as a musician, I'll just give you an example. I tell you, I went to Sao Tome last year for vacation, right? And I stayed there for 5 days. And for 5 days, every time I went downstairs to have breakfast, they played their music. For 5 days. So you can imagine, the music was knocking on my head the whole 5 days. And I was so intrigued by their music, and I didn't understand the word of it. It was all in Portuguese. I had no idea what they were singing about. But I came back home and I went on the internet and I researched and I kept looking for more things about Sao Tome because it was just so beautiful. I had no idea what they were singing, but it just made me feel like I was there again. This is what it is to be a musician. This is what I do. This is what it feels like when you listen to Ghanaian music, my music. So, for example as well, I went to the BETs, right? And people didn't know Ghana. I got on there in a very nice African-inspired outfit made by an African designer right here. And I got there and people instantly wanted to know where I came from because they hadn't seen anything like that before, what I was wearing. So each and every media house I passed by had to call me back to ask me where I was from. This is what I do. I represent my country. I make people see my country, either from what I wear, mainly from what I sing. So in my videos, you see a lot of African print, like what I have on right now. And I'm really excited about this whole forum because it's a platform for us to share our thoughts on tourism. And I was just discussing with someone yesterday that it will be very good for us to push the music industry because outside in the US, the music industry, the arts, entertainment industry, they are at par with their finance sector. Just in 2012, recently, in London, in the UK, the entertainment industry, tourism surpassed the finance sector. We can do same here in Ghana, and I think we are getting there as time goes on. So, yeah.
What do you think the ministry or the government can do to support musicians like yourself?
Wow, government can legislate that, for example, in Nigeria, it was a few years back, right? And the government legislated that they play, I think, 80% of music, and they are doing that judiciously right now. But now I hear there's another thing where they say prime time, they should play only Nigerian music. And prime time is when everybody is listening to radio or watching TV. We can do same here in Ghana. If the government says that when you go to a hotel, thank you. If the government says that when you go to a hotel here in Ghana, the hotel should play soothing Ghanaian music, and we have that. We have everything. If the government says that they should play soothing Ghanaian music, don't you think it will be amazing? People will come here and leave like how I left Sao Tome and came back here. And I've been there 2 times, by the way, because of how amazing their culture is and what I saw and what I heard. So we can do the very same thing right here.
Sarkodie, the same question goes to you. How do you think the government or the ministry, now you're an ambassador for the country, how do you think this will benefit you to help raise the flag of Ghana?
This opportunity just allowed me to share what I've been thinking my whole career since I started doing music. When we do music, we're exposed to different worlds, so we learn a lot. And one thing I've noticed is anybody in the room can choose 5 countries that when we're doing ranking, you mentioned the obvious. And they have one thing in common, which those who are not on the ranking don't have, is the love for where they're from. So all we are talking about boils down to love. If you take a woman and the moment you fall in love, you start to notice things about them. That's when you get to know their attitude, things beyond the physical, right? Yeah. And same thing with our country. I think if we have that love, it starts from the leaders to us. The way we treat it will be different. What she was saying about our brothers and sisters in Nigeria, those are my people. I hate it when they try to bash them, especially the states. I call Nigeria kind of the African version of the states because they act the same way. Anything Nigeria is first to them and anything else is second. American music, no disrespect, but hip-hop, talking about content, we have it now in Africa. But until we love it and cherish it, and we change that state of mind where when you hear music and it's so good, you ask who did that. The moment you say it's a Ghanaian, you're trying to find a fault with it and go like it's not perfect. And that is the main reason why. Because if you're weak and you don't stand for anything, talking about branding means somebody standing for something. If you think about it, every brand, before you can notice somebody being a pastor, they stood for something. They devoted their whole life doing something. You are a teacher, you devoted your whole life. Minister for tourism, you care so much about tourism. So the question is, why are you a Ghanaian? Because you do love, apart from the fact that you were born a Ghanaian, because some people act like they're not even from Ghana. And to me, that's my worry. I don't want to put people on blast, but when you go out there, you mingle with people. As she's saying, you go to different countries, you experience a lot. I've been to France several times. Even in a hotel, I'm trying to order food and they're telling me they can't speak English. And I don't get pissed. I like it. I wish, because when you go there, you get frustrated. You're like, why are you treating us this way? I was at the BET, it was a whole thing in the media. Sarkodie, why were you not giving the front seat? They should have made you perform. Listen, I admired it. I wish it was Ghana. I wish it was Africa, where if they are bringing 50 cents, Sarkodie's face will be bigger, and then they say also bringing here is 50 cents. Okay, so let me just land on that. So what that makes you do is now you start to feel like you're not doing right. It's a mind control game. So now you start looking down on the Bisakidas, the Amachi the Days, the Daddy Numbers, feeling like, oh, the moment you hear Daddy Number, this is not international standard. So you're being exposed to a certain vocal range, a certain sound that you don't even understand, that you're forced to like it because they're doing the awards and that's what you appreciate. So until that point where we can have that love for this country and for this continent, that's when we're going to be ready, to be able to even push the tourism side. And choosing people like us, you can see the passion in which we speak, and we are ready to make that change.
Thank you. Excellent. Becca, instead of marketing Western international brands, how can you partner with more local brands? Because as you know, promoting Ghanaian products and services is an indirect form of tourism.
That's actually very right. I mean, this is where the government comes in one more time. I think there's a few stakeholders in here. It's more of the government and the people ourselves. And under the people ourselves, we have industries. We have people who are in charge of as little as sound and light, and people who do events. Now, this is how it's going to work. There's a lot of events that happen across the world, and it's, for example, under the auspices of the UN, under the auspices of the United States government. For me, I think that if we look even as close as Nigeria, there is something called the Afrima Awards. And this attracts, I know every single artist wants to be part of that award. Now I'm thinking, why don't we, as a people and as a government, and all the stakeholders who are involved here come together? And for this to happen, the government has to create an enabling environment to allow us to allow themselves to be approachable, call upon us. As we all sit in here, we're called upon, and we decided to come because this particular topic we're discussing is of interest to us. So now, these are some of the things I feel like we could do. Imagine the government coming together and saying, listen, there in the US, we have the Grammys. It is not even, the Grammys is not even a government-owned thing, it's a personal thing. We have, as close as like Joy said, we have the Afrima, we have the BET Awards. Now Ghana has Ghana Music Awards, we have the Ghana Movie Awards, but all this is local made. It only attracts local artists. So why don't we come in with our own award that attracts everybody from across the world to come to Ghana? A lot of us are preparing to go to Afrima, and I'm not even Nigerian. And when you go to the Afrima in Lagos, you see Ivorians, you see French, most of them, you see Ethiopians, you see people from Kenya, you see people from Ghana, and we all meet at one place. So some of the things that we could do is this: let's create our own award. As simple as that, right? Let's create an award that will attract the whole world. It may look simple, but trust me, you will be attracting a number of people from different parts of the world to come. And when you come in, you're sitting down, you're watching me perform, the next thing you want to do the next morning is to go and buy roasted plantain. And that is learning about my culture, learning about my food. The next thing you want to see is you want to go to Cape Coast and see the Elmina Castle and see what's happening there. So I just believe that the government has to create an enabling environment to allow us all to come together, get stakeholders, get people who are in charge of sound. It's so easy for the government to call them and say, hey, I'm going to whip up some tariff of you so that you can provide us with sound, light. Let's come here, let's sit down together. Let's reduce taxes there so that you would want to be a part of this. The venues, okay, Kempinski, okay, how much do you charge? This is the amount. Okay, this is what we're going to do. Every time there's an event like this, we're going to come and do it here. In doing this, it promotes this place, doesn't it? So we all come together and imagine this, having Kempinski, having discounted light, having discounted sound, coming together and coming with something like Ghana has come, no Ghana must go, an award. And that itself is going to create a platform where we have our own, and it will be under the auspices. And these things just attract ourselves. It's all about it, all of us coming together and making this work.
Thank you so much, Becca. So my last question before I take the audience question is, we know, so when you think about London, you think about Big Ben, Eiffel Tower. I mean, London Eye.
London Eye.
Yeah. When you think about France,
Eiffel Tower.
okay. When you think about South Africa, maybe Table Mountain, yeah?
Safari.
Safari. So when you think about Ghana,
Yeah.
what do you think about? Each and every one of you.
So I think that's a question I want to ask. What do we want people to think about when they hear Ghana? I think that's a question that we all need to have the same answer to.
Okay. That's what I want to know.
Before we can start this mission. Because what's happening is, because we're not telling our own stories, other people are telling it for us. I saw an advert from Delta Airlines just 2 weeks ago, and it was a street seller selling something on their head, barefoot, walking in the beach, a bit of rubbish on the side. And then they said, do you want a holiday in Ghana this month? Question mark. This is Delta. This is an official advert for Delta. And then they have another advert for Dubai, which has all the buildings, you know, it looks like heaven. Like, do you want a holiday in Dubai?
Yes, please.
Now, I know what someone's going to pick between the two pictures. But the reason why it's happening is because we've allowed it to happen. Now, if we all came together and we said, no more Delta Airlines as customers, no more giving our money to Delta Airlines, let's come together as a people, as a unit, and say no more Delta Airlines. I know for a fact that Delta will think twice. They'll even ask for approval before they post these pictures. And that's the stage that we need to get to. We need to get to a stage where we can unite and say no to these people. Now, in terms of how do we want Ghana to be seen? Now, Ghana has a lot of natural resources. And, you know, music, to me, is one of the main things that actually, one of the main resources that's been pushing Ghana to the world. And not just that, our national product, cocoa, is also something that I feel like we need to embrace. And I've actually been doing a lot of research on it and discovered that Ghana contributes to up to 60% with Ivory Coast of cocoa consumption in a 100 billion industry right now, but Ghana only gets 2%. So already, Ghana's getting raped, but no one's doing anything about it because the love is not instilled enough for us to complain about it. And also going back on the international brand, people feel like it's okay to embrace international brand because we've allowed it to happen. We've allowed it to happen. And I keep using Dubai because Dubai has strict rules. Like, when you get to the airport, you have to stay in this queue. If you're not from Dubai, you stay in this queue. It doesn't matter who you are. You stay in this queue and you go through it like everyone else. And we need to embrace our culture. When someone lands at the airport, it needs to be Ghanaian music. We need to encourage people wearing our clothes. People feel embarrassed sometimes to wear the Kente clothes, but it's the most richest thing that you can do for Ghana because, and it's only because of how they've been fed growing up. Again, so we need our own schools. We need to teach our kids to embrace our own culture. The way we teach our kids make a major difference. So what happens is, because we don't care how our kids are being taught, after 18 years of being, you know, Gucci, Louis Vuitton, like, that's the kind of thing that they think is good. And now we're trying to tell them to undo it. It's going to be hard to undo these things. You know, so we need to educate our kids the way they need to be educated, and we need to take action to make that happen. We've actually just launched African dolls.
Nana dolls.
Nana dolls. Yeah. And the idea is for our kids to see a doll that looks like them, not Barbie doll, but a doll that actually looks like them, so they can feel like it's okay for them to feel like a queen. It's okay for them to love themselves. Their hair is fine for them to keep their real hair. You know, we need to teach our kids to embrace their own culture. Oh, this is the Nana dolls, by the way, guys. Yeah, we got the African queens, you know, the Ghanaian queens modeling them. And this is an African doll. This is what our kids need to be playing with, anything African, and not be embracing Barbie dolls because it doesn't represent our culture. You know, so again, going back to why we need to be supporting our local bands. Oh yeah, my beautiful dolls. And we need you guys to support this as well. Before everyone leaves this building, everyone needs to order a Nana doll.
Yes.
Everyone needs to order a Nana doll before they leave the building.
Definitely.
Or you go home with one of them. So the point is, we need to embrace our own brand and embrace our own culture and educate our kids the right way.
Thank you.
So they can take Ghana forward.
Thank you.
Thank you, girls.
Thank you.
Yeah, just to round it up.
Yeah.
How do we want Ghana to be perceived? We want it to be a country full of amazing music, amazing natural resources, you know, like cocoa products, shea nuts. We have all these resources that we're not embracing, again, is because of the lack of love. How can we turn our backs on gold, stuff like shares, stuff like cocoa? They're so rich and it can make us so much money, but we're turning our backs on it because we're so uneducated about loving ourselves. And not just loving ourselves, but loving our country. So we have a lot of projects coming up that will encourage this sense of love through our music, through festivals that we have coming up.
In January?
Yes, we have a festival coming up on the 6th of January. I'm letting everybody know, 6th of January, Tina Festival, in conjunction with the Ministry of Tourism and the Cocoa Board, and everyone in the board. We need everyone to support this, because the idea of Tina Festival is that you go to Ibiza, all you hear is dancing techno music. You go to America, you hear hip-hop music. People need to come to Africa, they need to come to Ghana for Afro beats. They need to come to Ghana for Afro beats.
Okay.
So on the 6th of January, we have a festival to attract people from across the world. We have some major global artists as well as amazing local artists, involved in this project. And the idea is that you're coming to enjoy Afrobeats, but you get to experience our culture when you land.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Ochami, I'll just quickly go to you. When you think of Ghana, what destination? I mean, like I've mentioned, when you go to London, it's Big Ben. When you mention Ghana, what are you seeing?
When I think of Ghana, as a person that comes from Kumasi and being the direct descendant of Asante Hene, I think of the cultural heritage that is in Kumasi. But honestly, I believe that one destination for Ghana is in Cape Coast.
Okay.
Why? Because Cape Coast has the castle. It's very close to Azim. It's close to Winneba. It's almost in the middle of everything. And it is not that cosmopolitan. So you can go to Cape Coast and experience Ghana without in quotes and quotes, the noise in Accra. And it is fairly cleaner than the cities because it's not that densely populated. So I believe that if we took the Cape Coast Castle, and then every weekend we have drama students from the university coming to the castle to reenact the whole concept of slavery in a play. If we had people who make sculptures of colonialism, slavery, and have people pay money to go and see it, if we could relive the whole concept of slavery again, with why the Israelites will still worship other gods even though they knew Jehovah was their God, because they wanted to feel something. So when I go to the castle, I see pictures, I see writings, I see history, but I want to feel it, because if we can feel it, we can charge more for it. And I believe that with that, if we sold Cape Coast as the tourism destination for Ghana, we will make a lot more money, because they are still also embedded in the Akan culture. We have the festivals, we have the parties, we have the funerals, and the expensive funerals also will help develop tourism. People will go sleep in hotels, still see the culture, and spend money. So I think that even though I'm from Kumasi, I believe that Cape Coast should be the tourism destination for Ghana.
Thank you very much. And I'm going to task you to that, because for somebody that has an MBE in marketing strategy, put a marketing strategy towards that so that we can make Cape Coast the tourism destination.
Okay, so I believe that it should be 3-tier.
Okay.
One, at the government level, at the corporate level, and then also at the artistic level. So when President Kufuor, ex-President Kufuor, said we should wear African wear on Fridays, it changed the whole economy. So if we can do it, another president or the Minister of Culture will say, let's do it on Thursday, and another one will say Wednesday. By the next 8 years, we only wear African wear. So what I'm saying is that at the government level, let us make policies that will drive, because I know in a developing country like ours, we need to find money to put hospitals in Tumu. We need to build schools. There are places in Ghana that still people have never seen a car before. So our resources are going in that direction. So let the arts and the culture and the tourism fend for itself. But I think that if the ministry could charge $5 on everybody that is coming to Ghana on the air ticket, because people are already spending $5,000 in business class. Additional $10 will not hurt anything. So by the end of the year, we could make like $12 million just for tourism at the government level. Now at the corporate
strategy, I like that.
Corporate level, we can get businesses to go and open hotels. And when we have enough hotels, there are too few hotels in Cape Coast. Because of that, you pay $200 and it's very, very expensive. You can go to amazing hotels in New York and in London and pay only $80. But hotels in Ghana are expensive because it's not that many. So if corporate will increase the number of hotels in Cape Coast, and then we will bring the concept of the arts, great music, great food, entertainment, and everything. So if we have this holistic approach, government, corporate, entertainment, I think we can make Ghana an amazing place.
Thank you very much. Becca, when you think of Ghana, what are you thinking, our destination?
The first thing I think about when I think about Ghana is I see very beautiful women. The first thing I see. And I see curvy women because nowadays people are buying curves. So that is a plus. Actually really is a plus for African women, and that's a lot of things that people never used to really like, are curves. So that's one thing, and that really can attract a lot of men to come to our country, and it boosts tourism. Absolutely. Now, for me, when I see Ghana, I see so many destinations. I see as little as a Kakum Park. I see Kakum Park.
Kakum Park. How many times have you been to Kakum Park?
I'm scared of heights. But I do like that destination because I went to school at Wesley Girls, and a lot of times I would pass around there before I go. Now for me, when I see Ghana, I see so many things that would actually attract and Ghana to the world and let people come here. And it's even as little as the cloth we wear. The cloth we wear is as little as that. We may sometimes think about the huge things, but it will surprise you somebody just wants to come to Ghana because they've seen or him wearing a beautiful kente cloth, which is from Bori, if you all don't know. And there's a beautiful story to that as well. One thing though that we must all pay attention to is this. As much as there's a lot of things for us to see in Ghana, are people coming down to see it? Are people coming here to see it? We're rather buying tickets and we're flying to Paris and Dubai, and it's because they branded these things properly. So the first thing I'll urge you all to do in the government, and every single person here, is this, that let's try to brand these things properly. And when we speak about branding, it's really simple. It's three things. It's the image, perception, and personality. Now the image, I like those ones. The image of a person is something that attracts everybody to them. As Ghana, how do we want to be seen? Do we want to be seen as the nation that is full of rich resources, a land of gold, a land of culture? How do we want to be seen? That's the first thing. As a singer, it would be audiovisual. It would have been, what kind of music do I do? Am I a high life artist? Am I a hip hop artist? Am I a dancehall reggae artist or an Afro pop artist? So after the image, you come to perception. Perception is what people see. How do people see Ghana? And this is the conduct of the image you create. So when you're able to create a proper image, then people's perceptions, oh my goodness, Ghana is the best destination ever in the world for you to go to. Because when you go there, even at the airport, oh, you must see the girls and what they're wearing. That kente is marvelous. And when you get out and you see the scenery, and when you go out to Kakum Park, it's so beautiful. And the guards that take you out there, so it's really the perception, which is the conduct of the image that we build. Then after that, we come to personality. And every single person has a personality. I have my personality. My personality is who we really are. Who is Ghana? What is Ghana made of? Ghana is indeed a land of rich resources, filled with so much culture that will attract anybody around the world to come to this country. So now, putting all these three things together, our image, perception, personality, creating a brand that is a gorilla brand, that everybody's attracted to, that directs everybody in this part of the world to want to come to Ghana as their holiday destination, as their honeymoon destination, I think is really important. So as much as we have a lot of things to talk about, a lot of things we have, let's run them properly so that people feel the need to come to Ghana really to see what we have here. So
Thank you, Becca.
Thank you.
And Ms. V, your perception, what do you see when you think of Ghana?
When I think about Ghana, I think about peace. I think about the amazing people here. I think about the music. I think about our sceneries. Like, this place is that destination. Tourism is such a very good economic, tool. And music is one big thing here in Ghana. Can you imagine so many concerts held here in Ghana? People coming from all walks of life, from different countries to come here to attend our concerts. For example, we have something called the Chalewote Festival. And because of this festival, we have so many people coming into the country, so much that hotels are fully booked. The drivers make a lot of money, and they get a lot of girlfriends when they come here. Yes. So, I mean, when I think about Ghana, it's that place where people can come to and live in peace and have fun and enjoy. We have so many God-given places. We have our crocodile sanctuary. We have too many things we haven't touched that people haven't seen. And I'd wish that, we get more people to come here to see what we have to offer as a country. I'm really proud of Ghana. I'm really proud of what we have, who we are, and hopefully the rest of the world can see this.
Thank you. And lastly, Sark.
The same question.
They
have exhausted the question. They have answered everything. But I'll go with Ms. V. That's number one. Is the peace and how the people are. I think we've had a lot of tourism sites that boils back to what I said in the beginning. We lost track of that love that we used to have. When you want to go home and watch the concert parties, the cantatas. I was talking to Fuse about old movies that's like epic, that we used to enjoy from way back, that we have moved away from it and trying to shoot just anything just to make money. It boils down to the music and everything. So let's be realistic. My big brother brought up Cape Coast. He's trying to get the attention there because he sees potential. He sees that that's a site that exactly what he's saying. Yeah. That is what we are supposed to do now. Places that used to be our pride, that we slept on for years. This is the time that we need to change our minds back to it. And I thank the minister for choosing us because we have influence, and I think we can do that. It will take time, but we have the listenership that can change people's perception about Ghana and tell them to love Ghana back again. So as we're embarking on this journey, hopefully we can do this together and achieve that old love that we used to love Ghana back again.
Thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed the session. You've enjoyed the session. Okay, we have a video from Van Vicker, who was unable to make it because he was filming a movie, so we'll watch it on the screen.
I want to highlight on something else. Celebrities tend to travel a lot and go around the world and go places where they never dreamt of. I was in Fiji some time ago. I never ever thought I would ever be in Fiji. But the point I'm trying to make is this: because of the travel experiences, you can always learn from other people and see how they develop their tourist sites and then bring that to Ghana and bring that idea. Because when you travel more, you learn more, you tend to do better. And that's the point I'm trying to make. So we do have lots of ideas. All of us have got ideas. I think this is something we just need to move over and get it properly done, and let's position ourselves in the way that we can sell our country and make it good for all of us. So yeah, I do need to go catch my flight now, and I will be linking up with a number of you later on. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Van Vicker for that short message. Thank you, Becca. Thank you, Fuse, Miss V, Sark, and Ochiami Kwame. Thank you so much. And thank you to the Honorable Minister. And also I must say hello to Honorable Jifa Gomashi. Nice to see you. And I hope you've enjoyed the event. Have you enjoyed the event? Yes, so we need to get ready for the dinner, for those who are staying for the dinner. I'm afraid there's not going to be time for questions because we've run over. Is that okay? Questions in the door, so we have to wrap up. I have to go. Guys, thank you very much.
Come on, Ghana, we can do better than that. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's how we come to the end of... Oh, you're going to close it? Okay, all right. Do you want to come up there? Yeah.
Good evening, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, once again, as we bring the curtain down to the first part of today's event. It's a long, full day that we have planned for you. I want to thank all the speakers, the media who flew in from across the globe. Our celebrity panel, some of whom had to fly in yesterday, and as you saw from the video. I want to thank also partner agencies, the GIPC, and all those who have been here since morning as we listened, networked, and deliberated on issues of tourism. This evening, we have another bonanza, and I'm happy to announce that the President of the Republic will be with us for dinner. So I want you to go to your rooms, to go and be back here at exactly 7:30 when the event starts. It's the Africa Tourism Awards. It's 7 p.m., Africa Tourism Awards, starting at 7 p.m. and we have the President as the special guest of honor. Thank you so much for being part of our day. Thank you. God bless us all. Thank you.